In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
And you know it's perfect. What's up, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Got a fun show tonight as the Panthers look to draft a quarterback, and the New Orleans Saints send smoke signals. Trades are amok. Trades are around. We're trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen with the New Orleans Saints, our rivals. What are they positioning themselves for? We've got special guest Bob Rose tonight to come join a longtime friend of the show. We've got talk. We've got comments about Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. I got Greg Cosell audio about Kenny Pickett later in the show. We've got Malik Willis commenting on Twitter to Panthers fans saying they deserve more than a second-rate quarterback. And what else is there? Oh, we added a cornerback who is very, very tall, very, very fast, and few people know who he is. And it turns out that Scott Fitterer is being clowned on the internet. Holy cow, we got a good show tonight. Cody Lashney, my wheel man, welcome back to the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Tony Dunn, one thing always remains the same: death, taxes, and Tuesday nights, your boys convening to talk about our favorite football team, the Carolina Panthers. Tony, we have a bunch to talk about, as we always do. And you know what? You already know we're going to do it with the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know him and love him. It's 89J Stubbs, our man Drew, the real Zero Chill. Heels is Rhule 1981, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Matt Knows Nothing, Ted CMs, Thomas Tomlinson, Tim Estes, Tyler Cunningham, Yonels, Zach Simmons 13, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
They know what's up. They know that it's free to smash that thumbs up button. Give us a thumbs up, man. I'm giving you a thumbs up right now. Subscribe to the podcast. Call into the show at 252-228-5098. CK and his golden pipes in the house. Man, this guy is on the verge of being the next John Travolta.
Oh yeah, that's not the case at all. I appreciate the warm welcome there. I'm excited to be here. Talk about the Panthers and a week of just waiting. I think is all that this week is really kind of representing, is the wait to get to the draft. It's a lot more exciting for our guests tonight than it is for the Panthers fans tonight. So we'll get to that. It's, I guess, real quick here.
Well, and good. In other news, there's 3 more weeks of waiting too for the draft, because that's what we're gonna have to be doing. Greg in the house, the Bat Daddy, the Stat Daddy 52. Did you go see Morbius?
No, not yet, because
what?
I've heard.
I saw it and you didn't see it, and I'm not even a Marvel dude.
I'll send you some pictures of why I didn't see it with some issues I had at the house. I've had to fix.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, just folks, just let you know, don't take one little drip. Take it seriously. Don't take it lightly. One little drip over 3 years will cause a lot of damage.
Hey man, been there before. Been
water.
there before, man. Been there before.
Water makes the blue planet blue, but also can make your insurance go red. Ugh. All right. Let's jump into the show with our guest, Bob Rose. Man, welcome back. Bob is contributing writer for the Saints News Network and co-host of the Bayou Blitz podcast. Long-term friend of the C3 Panthers podcast. Welcome to the show, Bob.
Nothing but love for you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate you every day, all day. But we really love coming on with you guys. You got a nifty new intro. I'm really impressed. I might have to steal some ideas when I get my podcast back up and rolling this off season.
We're working hard, man. We got our ear to the ground trying to figure out what's going on around Panther Town. But I tell you this, Bob, is that right now is that tonight's show. Tonight's show is we're looking for this quarterback. But this picture today popped up of Kenny Pickett. We're going to be talking about this. And look, I've been trying not to get too crazy on the dude's hands, but this hand right here, I thought it was photoshopped at first. But we brought you on the show because as the Panthers are sitting there with the top pick for the NFC South, as we're eyeballing quarterback, potential franchise left tackle, we see the New Orleans Saints going through a transition period, kind of searching for their quarterback in a certain way. Jameis Winston's there. There's some other guys. New coach in the house. The Falcons seem to be phoning it in already. We thought we were positioned to be the draft leader when it comes to the NFC South, but this is what happens, Bob, is that a trade was made. The New Orleans Saints send a number 18 pick, a third round pick, a seventh round pick, a 2023 first round pick, and a 2024 first round pick for the Saints, and the Saints receive a 16th pick, a 19th pick, and a 6th round pick. This is an aggressive move. It shouldn't be surprising to us in many ways that that the Saints do something like this, but this is a tall price they're paying. I got to know, what's the angle, Greg? What's the angle, Bob? I'm sitting there looking at
guys, I'll tell you, first of all, I like the trade, but I like it only on one condition, and that is if the Saints do not package those 2 first-round picks that they got to move up even more to draft a quarterback from what I think is a middle-of-the-road quarterback class. There's a couple guys that I like quarterback-wise, but nobody that I would spend that high a ransom to come get. Because you figure if they do something like that, they're essentially giving up 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick to move up to get what, in my opinion, is an iffy quarterback. If they stand pat, here's what I think the strategy is. I do think they have their eyes on a couple quarterbacks. I also think that they're planning on surrounding Jameis Winston with at least one wide receiver in this draft. And I know that they have been very high on a few offensive tackles, which makes sense because they lost Teron Armstead in free agency. So what I think the Saints are going to do is grab their best available wide receiver at probably 16. Wait to see how that draft board falls to them and go, whoever's higher on their draft board, whether it's a quarterback or a tackle at that point in time at number 19. I think that's the direction they would go. And that's why, if they go that direction, that's why I like the move. Offensive line, in my opinion, isn't in nearly the dire straits that a lot of my fan base believes that it is. James Hurst, if they had to start the season today, James Hurst is a projected starter in Armstead's position. Hurst has done this before. Hurst has filled in every time Armstead has gone down with injury, which has been a lot. And he was a starting tackle with the Baltimore Ravens before he joined New Orleans. Is he a Teron Armstead? No. Is he a blue chip first-round draft tackle? No. But he's more than capable of handling the job if the Saints have their eye on a wide receiver and a quarterback. But make no mistake, they have a very specific goal when they made this move. It wasn't just a move up to move up. Like I said, I just hope it's not to package more picks to move up to get a quarterback that I don't believe is worthy of that kind of draft haul.
What other kind of picks you guys got in this draft beyond those first and second round picks? Do you know?
In my opinion, Saints are sitting pretty. They have a second round pick, 49th overall. Third round pick, 98th overall. So that's four picks in the top 100, 3 of them in the top 50. Then they have a 4th at 120 overall, 5th rounder and 6th rounder that they got back from Philadelphia. So this draft, in my opinion, it's deeper at tackle than a lot of people realize. It's pretty deep at defensive tackle if they choose to bolster that position. And it's extremely deep at wide receiver, but wide receiver class in my view is top heavy. There's a big drop off after the top 4 or 5 guys.
Cody, this reminds me a little bit of, first, is that some people think that all of a sudden we saw this and that the Saints are trying to move ahead of us. Other people have said move ahead of us to get a tackle, that they're interested in tackle. Bob suggesting there's a larger plan in place here. And you know what this feels like to me? 2018. These cats trying to hit a fiver where they knock 5 out of the park. You know what I'm saying? Is to get that 5-piece of starters. And that's the type of draft we are hoping they don't have. A. And B, that's the type of draft you need in this day and age to really remold your team quickly in the face of salary cap woes.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's the other thing that the Saints have to look at. They have all these high salaries. They've kicked the salary cap can down the road for years, and they're genius at it. But this is a way to immediately, 2 first rounders and a second rounder in the top 50. If you draft right, and if your scouting department knows what they're doing, those are 3 immediate starters on rookie contracts. That's huge in this day and age, like you said. I'm sorry to interrupt, Cody.
No, I mean, I was basically, listen, Bob, I'm going to be honest with you. The Saints are a little bit of a conundrum to me. And I have to say that in a certain sense, I disagree with you. Now, ultimately, I don't want to disagree with you because what I'm about to tell you, the Panthers have been really having this conversation about quarterbacks and whether or not we should take one at 6 and the risk-reward factor. Well, Bob, if you look at the past few years of the draft, names like Justin Herbert and Josh Allen and even a Patrick Mahomes were very highly evaluated from a talent perspective and guys that had all the traits that you would want in a franchise quarterback. But there was some kind of deficiency that many people in the scouting departments and the NFL teams and in the media said that there were just flaws that these quarterbacks might not be able to overcome once they enter into the NFL. And Bob, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm looking at the New Orleans Saints. You have Jameis Winston for 2 years. You signed Andy Dalton. I understand why that might say to you and other Saints fans that the quarterback isn't that much of a pressing need right now. But when you look at a Malik Willis, let's just say hypothetically, the New Orleans Saints love him as a prospect, right? And they know that their division rivals, both of them, by the way, are picking in the top 10. And you believe that Malik Willis might need some time to learn and, get used to an NFL playbook. But over the long haul, if they believe that he's a franchise quarterback, then why wouldn't you draft a guy and put him on a talented team like the New Orleans Saints and develop him down the road and not have to force him on the field right now? Because in my mind, that's kind of what the Saints are doing. I know you just said that the offensive line for New Orleans isn't in as shambles as other Saints fans might believe it to be. So with you saying that and me thinking about what kind of environment you might give to a young quarterback, I really do think that the Saints might be looking to upgrade that position. Does that mean anything to you or make any kind of sense in any way?
Yeah, sure it does. And that's why a lot of the national media are automatically assuming that the Saints are going to take these 2 first-round picks and include them in a package to move even further up, probably ahead of Atlanta and Carolina, to grab a Malik Willis, who I know they like. And you made a point. If the Saints believe that Malik Willis, or any, I fill in name here, but we're talking about Willis.
Corral, Pickett.
If the New Orleans Saints believe that Malik Willis can be their franchise quarterback, then yeah, I agree with that philosophy that you do what it takes to go get him. It's just what I said before. That's just me saying based off of the film that I watched that I don't believe that. And I love Corral and I love Carson Strong, but I wouldn't move up to get either one of those guys. Carson Strong's going to be available on day 2. Willis has a whole lot of potential, but I wouldn't move up that far to get him. Not when you are talking about a need at tackle and a major need at wide receiver outside of Michael Thomas. No matter who you have at quarterback, you're not surrounding them with the weapons it takes to allow them to succeed. If you continue to shuffle the deck like they're doing. But like you said, it does make a lot of sense. If Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen have identified a particular quarterback that they believe that the Panthers and or Falcons can get ahead of them, then by all means, you do take those picks to move up. I'm just saying that if I was the general manager, that's not what I would do with it.
Do you think there's a hope that maybe like you could get that, like one of those positions you mentioned, an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, and then maybe find Matt Corral at 19?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I published my first mock draft today, and that's exactly what I had the Saints doing. I had them drafting Corral at 19, although it was a toss-up between Corral and Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati, who's moving really fast up the draft boards. And I had the Saints going Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State, at 16, and Bernard Raymond, the offensive tackle from Central Michigan, with the 49th overall pick in the second round. Raymond, in my opinion, is a first-round talent, but he's a converted tight end. He's only played like a year and a half at tackle. So that's why I believe that a guy like that is going to still be there, maybe even middle to late second round. And I think the tackle position is a little bit deeper in this draft class than what people realize. Granted, you have your blue chippers at the top. Trevor Frenning, Charles Cross, the kid from Alabama and NC State. Those are guys that you draft in the top 5 or 7 also. But again, when you have such a pressing need at wide receiver, and this wide receiver class is so top heavy as far as talent goes, when you have the chance to get 2 players off your wish list, you take both those players.
I know you got to run and do another podcast. Just tell Greg, you got a question?
Well, I was just going to ask, we're talking about the y'all trade, the possibility, hypothetically, y'all trading up. I want to ask the Panthers fans here, especially, what would you think if they came to us and wanted to take the 6th?
Look, Jeff R put this in the chat. Jeff R puts this. The team they should trade with is us. That would be perfect scenario for us. I can't imagine a scenario
give us the top 3 in the 50. We'll give you Robbie and the 6th pick. Y'all take the top. We'll give us the top 3 in the 50.
You know what? You give me DJ Moore and that other one, and you got yourself.
Let's not get crazy.
Leave DJ alone. Hey, leave my DJ alone. I wonder when the last time that division teams have traded in a meaningful manner like that in the first. I mean, it's one thing to trade with teams like in the 6th or something like that, but gosh, how meaningful is that? I know you got to run, but can you just tell us real quick what the New Orleans Saints need to do in this draft? I mean, obviously you've hit on some things already. Anything else that you're looking for and hoping for?
A couple positions. I mean, this tight end position for the Saints is absolutely horrendous. There are no first-round talents, but by my view, but I'd like to see the Saints maybe reach out for a tight end late in day 2, early in day 3, and hopefully bring some more athleticism to that position. Otherwise, I mean, their 3 needs are very, very pronounced. In my opinion, it goes in this order: wide receiver, tackle, and then quarterback, because I'm a bigger believer in Jameis Winston than what many are.
Sure.
But I don't think the Saints buy into him yet. And that's also why I think we're going to see the Saints come out of this draft with a quarterback.
I like Jameis. I like him, man. I mean, I hate to say it, I didn't like him at first, but he's grown on me, and I love his workout videos. People make fun of him, but those are hard workout, those stability things. Anyway, Bob, great stuff. I know you got to run. Tell the homies under the dome I said hello.
I will do, and thank you guys. Nothing but love for you. I know we'll be doing this again, and we always get together at the draft. But thank you for a great show. We're rivals on the field, but we're best friends off of it. So love you.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. That's Bob Rose. Go ahead and follow him at BobbyR2613. Guys, is this smoke or is there fire is kind of what I was thinking about when I wrote the show title when it comes to the New Orleans Saints and this quarterback conundrum or this draft intrigue, right? What I hate about this is I look at all these damn teams. I'm going to pull up the order one more time. Look at his draft order. Look at these teams. All these teams with multiple first-round picks. What the hell?
That's what I'm saying. Wouldn't it be great if? I mean, it's honestly not a bad deal if they traded us.
Dude, if they traded, I honestly do not hate that. I don't.
Yeah,
hate
because
that
I think a quarterback's going to fall to that spot. Really, I think a quarterback that's not as far off from the top, whoever you think the top is going to be available.
You might get Kenny Pickett there.
That's what I'm saying.
And Charles Cross, but still, you look at these teams. You look at the Giants; they got a lot to work with. The Jets got a lot to work with. The Texans got a ton to work with. Oh, and then Detroit sit there at 2, making everybody's life crazy. But guys, we know this. The Carolina Panthers are in need of a quarterback, and they have made it known they're willing to draft one. Now, whether or not they're trying to, I don't believe that they're throwing smoke screens at us, folks. I'm sorry. I'll believe it when I see it, but I feel like this Panthers front office and coaching staff has almost been too open at times. It's like sometimes it's like Matt Rhule, shut up. Scott Fitter, stop talking and telling everybody the plans and all of this. But Albert Breer reported this: the Panthers are looking at these quarterbacks. All of them, I love this, is except for that Carson Strong. No Carson Strong up here. But the Panthers are having QB visits from Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell, and Bailey Zapp. Now, remember this, folks. They only get 30 visits. They haven't narrowed it down. These mugs are, again, typical Carolina Panthers, throwing everything against the wall until it sticks. Cody, what do you make of this?
I mean, yeah, listen, this goes to one of the things that I've been saying, that the Panthers are very openly with their actions and their words telling you that they are ready and able to draft a quarterback. And I'm of the mindset that we need to start to kind of resign ourselves to this. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll end up wearing egg on my face. But I really do believe that the options are so minimal now, Tony, for the Panthers to actually be able to meaningfully upgrade that quarterback position, that the Panthers have no choice but to make sure that they do their most thorough due diligence in scouting these quarterbacks. And I like this, man. I mean, I'm not necessarily a fan of Howell and Bailey Zapp like some people are, but I like the fact that the Panthers want to know in full detail everything about Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, and Desmond Ridder, because I even think Desmond Ridder would be a good trade back quarterback in the event that Scott Fitter wanted to do so. But again, I really do think that 6th pick is probably where we're going to end up copying our quarterback of the future. And Tony, you and I said this on PNP yesterday. I mean, I think that it's the best move for the Panthers, especially after David Tepper and Matt Rhule and everyone in this organization has shown such a clear disdain for Sam Darnold. They want to move on from this man, and I think they're willing to do so at all costs. So I like this. I like what Fitter is doing, and I think this is an important step for us.
Why is it that look? I've been gravitating to Malik Willis. I love his personality. Right. I love the idea of betting on some of those traits and some things. At least I'm infatuated, or at least the allure of the next Josh Allen or whatever it may be. But I got to say this. I didn't think about this until now, is that like the knock on Willis is small school, small stature, and a lack of a passing attack at the school he was at. Why is there not more buzz for Bailey Zapp? My man is 6'1", 220 pounds. He's only 22 years old. And I got to say this, dude, the man, I mean, he went to Western Kentucky, smaller school, right? So you're not playing the big dogs, but he completed 69% of his passes on 686 attempts. He had 475 completions last year, 62 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Why is he a non-factor? Why isn't he more of a draft darling that's climbed the ranks of a Trey Lance or a Malik Willis?
I think it's partly because he doesn't have the athleticism of a Matt Corral and a Kenny Pickett and a Malik Willis. He's not a real dual threat. And really, you can make the case that all three of those guys that I just mentioned, even Desmond Ridder there, that they represent a real threat with their legs in a way that Bailey Zapp doesn't. On top of that, if you're going to be 6 foot something, it would be ideal that you do have some physical abilities to be able to manipulate the pocket like a Kyler Murray or like a Russell Wilson in order to be able to make up for that already kind of shorter than average size that you're essentially going to be depending on your offensive line to protect. So
how does this man not have arm strength off grid? And I haven't watched any of them. So I'm gonna believe you. But at the same time, how do you throw for 6,000 yards and not have arm strength? That's crazy. 62 touchdowns. He must have played on the best awesome team I've never seen play before in my life.
Well, shout out to CJA because this is a good comparison. He's like Gardner Minshew, man. They have the same body type. They have that moxie, that ability to throw the ball downfield, but they just they're not high end prospects. And Minshew also had a ton of yards at Western, wherever the hell he went. That escapes me right now. But yeah, I don't know. He's a guy that teams are going to take a gamble on somewhere in the 5th or 6th round just because of the stats and hope that he can be a Taylor Heineke type of player that goes into the playoffs too. So we'll see.
Let me ask you, is there any one of those quarterbacks that you would be pissed if we drafted?
Yes. For me, it's Sam Howell.
At 6 or just overall?
I mean, just overall. I mean, especially at 6. In my mind, there are 2 names that are associated with 6. It's Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett. Matt Corral, because of his injuries. Like, I wouldn't freak out if we drafted Matt Corral at number 6, but I think that you would probably want to trade back just because he isn't built as thick and as powerful as Malik Willis. And he does have some injuries to him. He is kind of a one-year wonder. But outside of those 3, I would be really disappointed if any of those other 3 were in conversation at 6, let alone even at all. I think Howell is Baker Mayfield made over.
Trill Wood says Cole Kelly threw for 5,000 yards, and I just looked up his stats. I've never even heard him, but he did go to Southeast Louisiana. No, that's not where Skip Holtz coach, but 73% completion rate, 44 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Those numbers are insane. This mug is the biggest mug ever, dude. He is 6'7", 267 pounds. That is a beast of a man. Good Lord. Now, look, I'm not saying that we should be looking at the Zap or these guys, but it just is strange to me. Well, I guess it's just my question being is how is it that the small school narrative, like they're not overcoming it with those crazy stats like some other people do. So
traits is a big part of that too. The arm talent, the mobility. You see it in guys like Josh Allen, right? And you see it in a guy also like Malik Willis as well. They clearly have all the ability to make all the throws and make all the physical plays behind the pocket. But the questions are him picking up the NFL playbook. How long will that take him? Again, I don't think it'll be very hard for him because he is such a high IQ type of guy. He scored that 32 on his Wonderlic, which was also very high, just like Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. He has those traits, those intangibles, those things that you can't teach a player to just do. Right. You're either born with it or you're not. And Willis has those abilities.
All right. The Panthers have made an addition, though. Free agency is not over. And this is a small one. Actually, it's a small monetary addition, a big body addition to the secondary. The Panthers continue to add to the cornerback room as they have signed Chris Westry. Chris Westry is 6'4", 199 pounds. The dude runs a 4.3. Right. It's spent a little time with the Cowboys and last year with the Ravens. He made the roster for the Ravens last year. In fact, this is what, according to the Baltimore Sun, Westry impressed in his first Ravens training camp last year and made the team's opening season roster. But injuries limited the third-year corner to 6 games, 2 starts, and the Ravens did not offer him the restricted free agent tender this offseason. One of the things is like I heard one Ravens fan say the whole damn team was injured. So, and like, is that this was just par for course for the season, but they also had a lot of big names. So it was like in that secondary room. So it was not only was he dealing with injury, but in a room full of a lot of guys with a lot of experience. What he said is this: is he as big as they say? Yes. Is he as fast as they say? Yes. And he ultimately just described him as raw. And quote, "This is not a bad thing," he said. "It's just like not a lot of playing time yet." So Westry, again, you know what? I got to say this. Matt Rhule's got a type. Matt Rhule's got a type. He likes them long and tall. He would have loved some Stephen Hill back in the day.
He likes raw dogging it, bro.
Oh, snap. Who doesn't, though?
Chris Westry, the cornerback room, you know, some people are like, oh, man, I guess no Stephon Gilmore. Man, Stephon Gilmore's never coming back here. Man, like, he wants to win. He wants to win, dude. He's going to go play for the Rams or the Saints, or I mean, not the Saints, the Rams or the Chiefs or maybe the Bills. Didn't he play for the Bills at one point, Gilmore? No. Patriots. He was a Patriot. Pats. Who did he get drafted by?
Maybe he did, yeah. And then the Patriots traded for him, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Chat
felt like he was drafted by the Bills. Stephon
this
Gilmore.
is on you. Where did Stephon Gilmore? Panthers Rhule says drafted by the Bills.
Speaking of one of the great drafts, he was part of the 2012 draft. Him and Luke Kuechly and all Don Terry Poe, like this play, that draft was star-studded too. But any sense of what not only this edition, but just what's going on with the Panthers secondary?
I'll be quick and then pass the mic. I think it's a warm body with a lot of upside. And I think that we know that about Matt Rhule and Fitterer. They like the high athletic profile, RAS score type of guys. And to me, that's what he represents. But also, just like if you look at us drafting Keith Taylor last year, it's very clear now what the mold for Carolina cornerbacks are. It's long, strong, and fast. J.C. Horn checks that box. C.J. Henderson checks that box. Keith Taylor, to a degree, checks that box. Dante Jackson, while it doesn't have the size, he definitely has the speed and the athleticism. The Panthers
definitely checks that box.
Yeah, for sure. And long arms, too. We are, and I love this. The Panthers are a press man corner type of football team. And again, I think that we keep forgetting that we have Steve Wilkes back in the organization.
Oh, it's going to be great.
I'm happy to have all this young, dynamic talent right there, ready and waiting for Steve Wilkes to coach up.
I think the secondary is in some of the better shape we've seen it in a while. Is that I think there's a lot of talent there. The question is the health of Horn and Jackson, how consistently, and I'm not going to put Horn in the question of like injury prone, but just that the fact is that we're going to need the starters to start and play. Right. There's going to be moments where you need these other guys to step in, but we don't really want to put them in a role that is above what we brought them in for. So we paid Dante, we drafted JC. Those guys got to be available and play. But I do like the profile of these guys. And, is that CJ Henderson, like you said, Steve Wilkes, man, he's a good secondary coach, man. And in fact, arguably, he's a better, like that's where he's had the most success as a coach, period, is that even with Carolina, you could argue those were his golden moments. And you going to listen to something cool, go listen. Just Google hold on. Why is just Steve Wilkes? Google Steve Wilkes mic'd up, and it's like from the 2015 season, dude. And he is next level coaching these guys up and motivating them. It's great. CK, what do you think about this picture?
I mean, it reminds me of the guy in Scary Movie with the cake.
Yes, the mashed potatoes. This is my strong hand. Look, I don't want to. I am to the point where I'm ready to believe. If we pick Kenny Pickett at 6, I'm going to be all in. Right? I'm going to be excited. I'm going to say, man, they know something. They believe in him. I'm not going to be overwhelmed. Like, I'm not going to be, paralyzed by the guy that has that doesn't have the biggest cannon in the entire world. I'm not going to be paralyzed by the noise surrounding his smaller hands. I've been telling myself that I've been trying to coach myself up into optimism about Kenny Pickett because I have gone through ebbs and flows about how I feel about this fella. Right. But I tell you this picture popped up on Twitter, man, today, and with an article, and it was just like about Kenny Pickett, had nothing to do with his hand size. And I thought this shit was Photoshop, bro. This hand looks crippled, dude.
He says that he has double jointed thumbs that apparently go the opposite direction. Like my thumbs are actually.
I know a girl that can do, and she can bend her thumb back to like touch her elbow.
I can make the back of my thumb touch the back of my wrist. My thumbs are actually double jointed. His are double jointed in the other direction. Like they poke in more. And I would always imagine, like, when you're trying to hold on to the football, like when you're trying to squeeze, if you squeeze too hard, that ball just pops right out of your hand. And I think that's what the fear is. But I mean, Tony, I kind of think that we're just gonna have to live with the fact that this man is gonna play with gloves. And I think
that's fine, but this picture is disconcerting, man. It's like cringe.
But by the way, also when quarterbacks are throwing, their non-throwing hand always looks a little bit derp-to-der. Like I
don't know. This looks a lot of.
I mean, if you take some still photos of quarterbacks right before they're about to throw, like their hands don't look, like normal hands. They have like a monster paw.
I'm sure we can find those if somebody wants to look it up. I mean,
somebody find this. I need to see this. And are the kids in the chat? Are the children around? Because this is just what actually, I'm not even saying this joke. Anyway, this hand is tiny.
Yeah.
It must look so big.
Yeah. Well, they said it in the chat, and I think somebody said they had the vibes recorded. They had. I'm getting kind of Jimmy Clausen vibes from this. I don't know why. When I look at this guy, I just think Jimmy Clausen. There was another one. Somebody said Derek Carr. I think vibes. Like I don't know why, man. It's just this doesn't. I don't know why Pickett doesn't excite me, but I'm with you, Tony. If they draft him, I'm all in, and I'm behind him, and I want to. But I don't know, man.
Greg, is Derek if it turns out to be a Derek Carr like prospect, is it that terrible?
Well, not Derek Carr. I meant David Carr.
Oh, okay.
Well, first of all, you know what? That isn't that terrible. To be honest, man, let's go ahead and remind a little context about. Yeah, is that he actually came out and balled out on a terrible team for 2 years while he got sacked so much. He has, by the way, he holds the record for the most sacks in the history of football. Guess who holds the record for the second most sacks?
Cam Newton.
No, he does. He's been sacked the most. It was like he got 70 sacked 73 times in one season, or 76, and then 7, and then like 3 less, and he's still like 1 and 2 in the power rank. Like, this mug got traumatized. He had PTSD when it comes to playing football. And then here's the other thing, is that by the time we got the shell-shocked version of him, and he played a couple of games in Carolina. Right. So people then hold that against him. In fact, I held it against him and his whole family. I didn't think his brother was going to be any good just because of that. And I actually think he's a pretty good quarterback. Now, look, I'm not adverse to Kenny Pickett. I think this is I just don't like the pro ready talk. Don't like that talk, because I don't believe anybody's pro ready. I think there's going to be a learning curve for the guy that has the most experience and stuff like this. Sorry, I just don't even buy that. I'm trying to get out of the mindset that I need a bazooka to live, because he can throw the deep ball. And you know what? Who cares if yes, it helps to be able to throw in the tight windows and to do some crazy shit every now and then. But if you have to do that on every play and everything to get things done, your team ain't probably that good anyway. What I want a guy is that doesn't overthrow, underthrow, hits the guy in stride, can make things happen. I think he's mobile. In fact, let's go ahead. This is what Greg Cosell had to say about this on the Tapeheads podcast about Kenny Pickett.
Well, we do have numbers on him because he was at the Senior Bowl. He's over 6'3", and he's 220. So he's built the way you'd like an NFL quarterback to be built. And his overall skill set, Bob, and traits profile projects really well. He's got a desirable combination of pocket efficiency. He can move. He's got second reaction movement. And keep in mind, Mark Whipple was his offensive coordinator at Pitt, and he was in the NFL for a number of years. So Pickett is very well schooled in multiple NFL passing game concepts with the reads and progressions that define them. He's worked all 3 levels of the defense with the different drop timing, the different progression reads demanded at each of the 3 levels. So to me, Kenny Pickett is a quarterback that is ready to play. And don't forget, if you follow the old Bill Parcells belief about how much a quarterback needs to play in college to be ready to play in the NFL, which of course nothing's 100%, but it was a Bill Parcells belief, Kenny Pickett falls into that category with the number of starts he had in college. He had 49 career starts. So he's got his college tape shows you that he can run principles and concepts that he will have to run in the NFL. He has vision. He can progression read. He has timing. He has anticipation. His ball placement for the most part is good. Plus, he's got athleticism and mobility to make second reaction plays. We saw that against Clemson in a game where he really had to make some second reaction plays, and he's got a little bit of a competitive moxie to him as well.
It's Greg Cosell on
fantastic
the
clip.
Yeah, is that, and that's the thing, is one of actually, I'm gonna go back and use a Cam Newton reference to this, is that for so long people who talked incredibly bad about, or who were the hypercritics of Cam Newton, always talked about what he didn't do well, and they failed to talk about what he did do well. So maybe we're doing, maybe I'm even thinking that too much about Kenny Pickett at times, and to really think about what he has done well. He made the college football change a rule. He is the guy that fake slid. Yeah. And like he got a little drip to him. The thing that is interesting is that his personality feels very, and I don't know, I haven't seen it, but it's just kind of like his demeanor. You saw Malik Willis, very smiley, happy, dapping coaches up and stuff like that. Very exuberant, extroverted. I don't know. I saw Kenny Pickett, and maybe it was just because he was around Matt Rhule, and he was just like,
yeah,
it was like, oh,
you might be like that if you were around Matt Rhule for a long time too. I mean, So
Hit
listen
him with
to
the
him.
freaky dig.
I mean, well, listen to before we do that, to answer Greg, I don't think he's a Jimmy Clausen. And again, like that's a little bit before my time as a Panther fan and evaluating. So it's like I can't really speak on Clausen. What I can say is this: everything that Cosell said, I can co-sign. I mean, if you look at all the things that you ask a quarterback to do, Kenny Pickett can do them. He throws with touch. He throws with timing and anticipation. He's willing and able and capable to throw the ball down the football field, and he makes plays on the run. He had an incredible game, like Cosell said, against my Clemson Tigers, where he made some plays that really had man looking like Joe Burrow. Now, his leadership is something that I'm not sure of. I mean, everybody says that he's a good leader. You know, he might not be as outwardly spoken as a Malik Willis, but you know, all the reports is that he's a team guy. Tony, I'm in agreement with you. I'm not at this place where I prefer one of these quarterbacks so much over the other that I would be disappointed in one of them. I think that Kenny Pickett, even though he's not my number one this year, if we drafted him, I would have no problem with that. And I think what it signals to me is they feel that the turnover time and getting Kenny Pickett prepared to play NFL football is probably going to be a little less than what they're thinking that Malik Willis might be. Which again, I don't know. He might have a Justin Herbert type of jump if given the opportunity, but at the same time, he might not. So I don't know. It is a legitimate thing to, you know, to kind of talk about and call out and point out. But listen, man, we've got a bunch of people in the chat room, and they're all Panther fans, but they're all a bunch of weirdos too, who also like to come here for some weird kink shaming that they like. I don't know, man. I still don't really understand it, dude. But CK, talk to your people, bro.
Oh, well, hello. Welcome into the chat, the podcast, the audio, the video, whatever it is. If you're not watching me right now, I look like an absolute goofball, and you're missing out. Anyway, if you're in here and you haven't hit that like button, I have one absolutely important thing that you need to hear. Subscriber shame.
Subscriber shame. 140 strong people watching the C3 podcast right now. 70 thumbs up. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe. Hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 podcast goes live. Keep your eyes and ears peeled and tuned to the channel and tuned to the podcast. We're going to be dropping some fantastic content very soon. And especially now that the draft is upon us, things are heating up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Tony Dunn, what we got for him?
I think this is the first. Kev, send it to me again. Where'd you send it on Twitter? Because I already got one of your. Me. Oh, he sent it to. I got it. He sent it to Cody. All right. Yeah, we'll key it up. We got you. To me, this was the tweet of the day. For me, I mean, and actually, I put Cody Lack's response up there with it too. It's because you just keyed it up. You he teed it up and you hit it out of the park. But as people debate about the need to take a or what Panthers should do at 6, there's an intense debate about if you should gamble on a quarterback or go after one of these blue chip left tackles. And there are, man, I mean, it's the Icky. These guys, I mean, there's some good dudes out there that look really good. Evan Neal, franchise left tackle. The thing that everybody, in fact, the thing the Carolina Panthers have been searching for even longer than a franchise quarterback, honestly, since Jordan Gross left. But the debate ultimately is what do you do at 6? And while you're here at that, and I thought this summed it up. Well, why'd you take it down? Why'd you take it down?
I didn't take nothing down.
Oh, it moved. This I thought kind of summed it up a little bit of some of the points. Option A is Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett with Brady Christensen at left tackle, and it's got him bombing DJ Moore. Option B, franchise left tackle, Sam Darnold with a clean pocket, and DJ Moore over there just waiting for the ball. Cody, what did you say? Is that this like perfectly like this makes it so clear?
I said it's literally that simple.
Yeah.
It's literally that simple, guys. And this very simple chart right here, which, by the way, I want to pull up his Twitter account. My man on Twitter has been posting some just fire memes related to the Panthers, and I want to make sure I shout him out. But it really is that simple, man. I mean, that's what you're looking at. This is what we're looking at. This is why David Tepper and the Carolina Panthers are so eager to fix the quarterback position. Scott Fitterer has outright told you they're trying to build this team so that all you have to do is drop a quarterback onto this team and you should be good to go and be ready to, to play legitimate football. By the way, it's my man Trap on Twitter. It's at TEADES5. That's my man. He puts out these fantastic memes that often get used in the thumbnails of our show too. So shout out Trap on Twitter. But Tony, it really is that simple, man. I mean, Sam Darnold is not to be trusted with all of the weapons that we have on this football team. I really do think that we would have a much better at being a good team if we had a rookie quarterback. And I think that's what this meme is relaying to the people.
Let's go to the crew on this. Is how do you guys react when you see this? Is like, do you think this oversimplifies it? Is this a caricature of the Panthers' options? How do you guys react when you see this?
I think it's a bit of a listen. I get the thought process, but I don't believe that it's option B. I think Sam Darnold has clearly got the arm. Like, he just doesn't have the capability of getting it where it needs to go or being smart with getting rid of the ball quickly enough.
Yeah, it might have like, what if he would have, you know what, he should have like overthrown it in this image.
Right. Yeah. I don't disagree
or just
with that.
Fumbled. That's another one. He could have just fumbled. He fumbles all the time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you on this, CK. I laughed at it because it's funny. I don't think it will be completely at option B, but once again, I kind of feel that's the way. If you're not sold completely on one of these guys being a franchise quarterback, I think that's the way they should go anyway. Because, I mean, if you get a guy who's a bust anyway, the guy you weren't sold on, you just were chasing, and you ended up picking the wrong guy or picking a bust, you're going to end up in the same position anyway. So for me, I think B is the way they should go regardless. But I also don't know what the draft class is like next year for quarterbacks. Is there anybody who's like,
the draft class is great. It's just where they say it's like the most exceptional class, which means they're all going to suck in the long run. But the real thing to me that just continues to come back is how often you're in the range for truly getting the guy you want.
Right. Not
getting the guy that falls to you. Not get, you know what I'm saying? Like is that how often do you get to choose your destiny? Right. And in many times, like this is, to be honest, is like maybe this is why we're a little upset with CMC a little bit. I won't say upset, but it's like, yeah, CMC is a generational talent and a running back, but you're not at 8, 6 very often. And maybe you take a swing at a stronger position group. And the problem is that if we had the 6th round pick and a quarterback that we even slightly believed in, I mean, not the 6th round, a number 6 pick, but like if we had the number 6 pick in Cam Newton, then, I mean, it's like, get this tackle. What's going to happen next year if we're picking at 11?
Right.
And then what do you got to do to get the guy that you want? And then people are going to tell us, oh, you can't trade away the future for this guy and this and that. you might be able to get the guy that you want without trading away anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the only thing that holds me back. Now, if we draft, here's the only thing is that if we draft an offensive tackle, I will not be disappointed. Like, I won't just walk away like, oh my God, this is the worst shit ever. I actually will agree with a lot of the people who have made the point is like, hey, we can work with this. Sam Darnold could potentially be better behind a better offensive line with Christian McCaffrey. Maybe you have another option that you bring in. Maybe you're building a team to plant a veteran quarterback in next year or something to that effect. I can get on board. But if we draft like a corner or that safety, I'm gonna lose my shit, bro. It's only two options, quarterback, left tackle, or I guess trade back I can even handle.
I mean, even a defensive end, even if you get like a Trayvon Walker or a Kayvon Thibodeau, who are really good defensive end prospects, it's exciting, but that doesn't really put us over the edge like we're all wanting it to. The offense is what needs addressing. Right. And, Tony,
Thibodeau, man, is fool's gold, bro.
I'm not a fan of his.
Look, I watched two snaps, and like he ain't got the power, move. Like, I mean, he ain't got enough.
He has the moves. He just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the power. He's just.
I've seen enough of these guys that look. We've seen guys that have better physical skill sets than him struggle. Brian Burns is arguably has a better physical body. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's taller. I don't know. It's like, is that, and you still see the limitations of who was it? Vic Beasley. I just think he is not, there's a reason that there's not a consensus number one.
Right.
In a year that there is not a quarterback, right, that is just jumping off the charts at anybody. There's just no Jadeveon Clowney in this draft. There's no Joey Bosa in this draft. And like, there are guys that could potentially be good, but they ain't guys that you say are going to step in and be dominant. There ain't no Julius Peppers. This Thibodeau guy is no Julius Peppers.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, Maddie.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Matt in the chat room actually brings up a point that I was talking about it last week too. I think part of the reason why I'm with the option B there, and like what Tony's saying here, I'm not blown away by any quarterback. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have a new coach next year. If we draft a quarterback next year that a new coach can't work with next year, doesn't want to work with it's going to affect all that. It's just a snowballing effect, in my opinion.
But this is what I've been trying to push back on. And I did this last night when we were talking to Dave and Rashad. It's like, listen, as much as that might make sense to us from a fan perspective, we really have to get over this line of talk. I think that it's honestly... It's not realistic from an actual organization perspective. They want to win this year. Matt Rhule knows that his job is on the line this year. You also have to.
Everybody wants to win this year. Scott Fitterer can't be feeling but so comfortable about his job. Tepper is I've been listening to Business Wars podcast lately. I mean, it's not new. Everybody's heard of it before. But I was just listening to the most Amazon versus Walmart. And like, we think of Jeff Bezos today as this super rich dude who's always smiling, who's sending his big giant, to space. But this dude was ruthless, man. He didn't get to the top by being friendly and nice and waiting. This guy went after shit. And I think that Tepper kind of brings some of that to the table. And the other thing that I was thinking about, Cody, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on this. Like, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I'm on the point where I'd be surprised if the Panthers don't try. I don't like the idea of like, there is a scenario where you could say, all right, we draft a left tackle. We don't think Matt Rhule is going to be it. But I don't think that's the attitude. I think they are going to try to get it done, right? I mean, we even saw last year when they started out a little bit, they were ready to make trades and go get guys and do some stuff, hoping that they were on a playoff trajectory. I think this is that when it comes to this quarterback scenario, or how about this, is this idea of stockpiling picks or building for the future? I feel like a lot of teams do that, and that future never comes. And then I see other teams that say, you know what, we're going to do it right now. And you know what, if it doesn't work, it seems like they're doing it again next year. And like all of a sudden, like look at the Saints. Look at the Saints right now. The Saints are lost Sean Payton. They lost Drew Brees in this Hall of Fame quarterback. They have gone through a bunch of kind of turnover and this and that. And these mugs are positioning themselves right now to try to do something. They were in, like, it just seems like this is that we were not in the Deshaun Watson race because we thought that we want to win in 3 years.
And on top of this, I want to continue to push back against this narrative, man. And I keep on seeing it in our chat room. I'm seeing it from far too many people. This idea that, oh, well, just take an offensive line this year and then get the quarterback that you want next year. In what world does that make sense? You have 5 teams next year that are going to have 2 first-round picks or more in the first round. Unless the Panthers are picking top 5, we are not going to have enough draft capital to get the quarterbacks that you're already looking at. You're not going to be able to get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young or any of these other players. And I'm sorry, there's just no guarantee that you're going to be picking in the top 6 next year. Even if you're picking around 12, that's no guarantee to be where you need in order to get a quarterback. We don't have the ammunition next year either. If the Panthers identify a franchise quarterback, they must pull the trigger. An offensive tackle does not put this Carolina Panthers team over the edge like that of a young quarterback. I don't even think
they care about a franchise quarterback, Cody. I think they're right now just saying a quarterback better and different than the one we got.
But they're doing their evaluations to see if there is a franchise quarterback. But Tony, you've made the best point about this. With Matt Rhule, knowing his job is on the line, there is no way on earth that Sam Darnold, plus maybe bringing back Cam Newton, plus an offensive lineman at 6, is going to be enough for that man to keep his job.
And he don't have that spine either, bro. And I'm not trying to say that he's sniveling or something like this, but maybe he is. But like, if you had that confidence, that steady the course, this and that, you wouldn't have done what you've done for the last 2 seasons, which is bring in Teddy, throw Teddy to the wayside, bring in Sam Darnold, throw the whole coaching staff out, then bring it. Like, what has indicated at any moment that this dude is stay the course, steady she goes, and is trying to build like this the right way. He has been. What's funny about this is it almost seems like the team has put this pressure on themselves more than the fan base did initially.
Right.
We were ready for this like gradual look. We were calling for a tank and like being in this position now with a lot of draft picks here with some like we wanted in 2021 or 2020 to be positioning ourselves for this draft right here, where we were maybe even last year getting a quarterback, but if we weren't, that we would have enough capital to do whatever the hell we wanted. And that's what the fan base was okay with. The fan base was okay when David Tepper came out and said, this is not going to be an overnight thing. We're going to do this. We were buying it. We were just eating it all up, bro. Oh, we'll give them time. It's not about wins. And you know what? Even after year 1, no one was upset with Matt Rhule. No one. I wasn't anyway. And it was like, because it wasn't about wins in year 1. It was about building the team, getting better from week to week, believing in the coaching staff. And then in year 2, they hit adversity and fucking panic, dude. They panicked at every turn. They were like, "Oh, we can win right now. Oh, we can." Like they almost bought in to the hype that nobody was pitching.
Right.
So that's is just incredibly crazy.
Well, it just,
to me.
Yeah, I mean, it feels. Here's the thing that's interesting, right? We shouldn't feel like we're as competent as the NFL coaches or executives or anything like that. We shouldn't, because we're not in that industry. We shouldn't, as fans, we should not be able to look from the outside looking in and think, I can do that job better than the people in there, right? And the problem is we were saying things 3-4 weeks prior to them actually doing it, right? So whether or not, it was needed to be done or anything like that, like it just felt like either they were listening way too much to fans, which again, yes, we are the ones that pay for tickets and merchandise and there's value in doing that. But there's also a sense of maybe you should probably have your focus be on it just felt like we were right way too often last year.
Yes. And they read their own headlines, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody needs to take, how we used to give shit about Teddy, about like being on Twitter with the burner accounts and this and that, take it away. Someone needs to take away the phone from Scott Fitter and Matt Rhule. They read it. I mean, and they leak it in their press conference. I mean, they say some things every now and then. You're like, dude, it's like, man, it's like, I hope, please. Actually, you know what? Don't stop believing in the Steve Panthers podcast, bro. They're listeners. I swear. I dare y'all fools to call in. Dare you.
I will say one last comment I have on this was, Tony, you were saying just a moment ago that you feel like they just want to draft a quarterback just to have something better than what we have. And if that's the case, I'm going to be pissed if that's the reason they draft a quarterback at number 6.
That is my fear.
Quarterback at number 6, unless he is your franchise guy. And I'm not saying these guys can't be, but if they pick a quarterback out of desperation just because they want a guy better than what they've got, we can get that easy without.
Well, you know what, Greg? They've shown us that they will be desperate. That's the thing. That is my fear. So that actually is that is my greatest fear. People have said, "Who do you want, Willis? Who do you want, Pickett? You want Corral?" I have told them I don't give a shit. Like, you pick the name. Y'all pick the name. You guys, your job is to find the dude.
Right.
All I want, I swear to God, all I want is this. Probably shouldn't say that. My mom listening. Cross it up. It's Lent. I just want them to believe in the guy they draft.
Yes.
If you don't really believe in them, then don't do it. Then don't do it. Then take the tackle. This and that. Is that last year we heard this mess? Oh, they didn't pick Fields because they didn't really believe it. If they had that type of conviction about Fields not being the guy, I hope when they draft a guy in the first round that they have conviction that he is the guy. And you sub the name in, chat. You sub it in. I don't care who it is. And actually, it's a good segue to this. What would you guys do here? And I guess my last point on the conviction part is this. This is why I don't want to take a quarterback in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. Like, I don't care what. Like, is that if you don't believe in them to be, like, if you believe a guy is going to be a starter in 2 years or next year, not this year, but the year after, he's worth the 6th round pick.
Right.
I mean, the 6th overall. Excuse me. I keep saying 6th round. The 6th overall is that I just don't like this idea of, oh, let's bargain shop it. Like, either pull it out and do it or don't.
How dumb would we feel if Malik Willis goes to Atlanta and becomes their next, their next savior quarterback? Like, then not only did the Panthers miss yet another opportunity to draft a young, talented quarterback, but there's the potential that they go to one of our division rivals and haunt us for the next decade. You have to be okay with that. Yeah, 100%. What if Willis went to Atlanta and Matt Corral went to New Orleans?
How about this, Cody? Here's a good point about that.
In our division.
To go back to this point right here to go back is that what if they draft a left tackle, right? Like it would say the Saints trade up ahead of us and draft a left tackle. Do you think we're going to be on this podcast in 3 years being like,
we could have taken this?
Screws the Panthers up every damn time we meet them.
No, it's like, no. Only one of these guys has the potential to burn us like that.
But that's because a left tackle changes the game in a different way than a quarterback does. Don't forget, we also picked up 2 free agent offensive linemen this year. So if we drafted a franchise left tackle, we'd have 3 brand new serviceable offensive linemen. 3 out of 5 ain't bad.
Sure, you know? I agree. So, but at the end of the day, I don't feel like the Saints, we're going to be like, oh, we can't beat the Saints because they got Ike Ekwonu.
But at the end of the year, they always credit quarterbacks like Drew Brees when he had those years. They say, well, he did have this solid left tackle, and that's a great reason why he played the way he did. So, I mean,
another thing about that, Drew Brees has abnormally large hands, folks. He has
10-inch hands. So does
10 and a quarter inch, bro. I mean, this dude's like palming like beach balls and shit.
Russell Wilson also has baseball mitts for hands.
That's what Sierra told everybody. All right, so as we do this, just answer this real quick around the horn. You guys answer it, no commentary. We were asking this I was talking to Edgar Salamanca Jr., who is I'm pretty sure USA Today writer for the Panthers or SI. I got to go back and look. Anyway, he's a cool dude. He's been writing about the Panthers for a long time. We were having this conversation about quarterback, left tackle, but then he said this is, all right, if you guys, which I was of the position, the Panthers are going to draft this. He said, all right, well, which guy, though, is going to make the difference? And he was referring to Willis or Pickett. And I did the cool thing. Instead of like telling people what to think or argue, and we weren't arguing. We have a great conversation, but I just said, well, what do you think? You tell me. And he said this is that, and I thought this was a good way of articulating it. Darnold, turnover machine. Willis needs development time. Pickett, the question mark around him, is he a top-level quarterback or just the best overall quarterback at the moment? Other quarterbacks worth drafting at 6, like Corral and trading back. All of these things, what he's suggesting, come with a caveat, with some sort of question mark with them. Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, expensive average quarterbacks. He asked me, my ultimate response was this, is I tend to lean Willis because I'm kind of in the allure of these upside quarterbacks, like we mentioned, Josh Allen being the poster child of small school overlooked dude, right? That has turned into a monster. So that has been the recent narrative of quarterbacks. But at the same time, I'm all right with Pickett, I said. And so, and I don't want to just disregard him. And I said, when it comes to the other thing is Minshew magic, baby. If we're going to go out and get a vet like another, I don't want Jimmy G. I don't want Baker. And I know you hate when I bring up Minshew's name, but he's better than them fools.
I mean, maybe I'll just say, I'll say this, man. Then I'll pass the mic. I've said this before. I said this a few weeks ago. Like, every opinion surrounding what the Panthers could or should do going forward is a valid opinion, because all of these, not only are they in the cards, but Tony, you hit the nail on the head. Like, none of these is a foolproof plan. None of these quarterbacks, whether it be Willis or Pickett, they're not a guaranteed blue chip prospect. So you're having to do a little bit of projecting and imagining what they'd be able to do in the NFL. Then you're looking at other quarterbacks like Matt Corral or Ritter. Maybe you might be able to get one of those if you traded back. I mean, really, those are your only other options unless you're willing to go get Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield, which, I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, if the Panthers do end up swinging and striking out on one of these preferred quarterbacks, they might wait until after the draft to try and execute a trade for Darnold or not Darnold, Mayfield or Minshew or Jimmy Garoppolo. And none of those are good options either, because then you're talking about trading something to go and grab one of those players in the first place. And you're talking about a player that isn't, players that aren't on long-term contracts that you would end up having to redo their deals sometime soon again. And none of them are very high-end, physical, talented quarterbacks like that. So, yeah, none of these answers are good answers. It's just like, which one do you have the most faith in panning out, given the right set of circumstances?
Greg, your pick of this litter.
I mean, obviously, I'm going offensive tackle or trading back.
So that means Darnold, and that means Darnold in the offensive tackle, right?
I want to assure that this is Matt Rhule's last year. I will say, sorry, and I understand.
Good news, Greg, is that no matter who we pick, there's like a 90% chance it's still his last year.
True.
And to be fair, Greg, we're in 100% agreement. It seems like, if you want Matt Rhule to be fired, then going offensive tackle at 6, that's not necessarily a recipe for winning this year. But I do hear you, though. That would definitely get rid of Matt Rhule. And a question I want to ask to the chat room.
Get CK's litter pick, though.
Yeah, CK, go first on this list right here. And then ask a question.
I mean, I'm like, my biggest thing is Willis. I'd go Willis all day, every day.
Yeah,
he's trying to get that Cam action right away, baby. Electric.
It's not even that. It's like it is that. Like, I think that it's something that we miss a little bit. But Willis has, like, again, I mean, when you watch again, and there is something to be said about not getting too excited about pro days or anything like that. But I mean, this guy has all the same tangibles you saw out of Josh Allen, and he wasn't given the same opportunities that somebody like even Patrick Mahomes was given, right? And he's got all of those intangibles that the natural talent, the natural aspect of what it takes to play football in the quarterback position, like that you question about Malik or with Pickett, right? Like, he's got all of those pieces. And the thing is like we talk about the counter argument I might have to Greg is that maybe if we draft Willis, he doesn't play for us this year, right? We set him on the bench, and then we go from there. The problem is
play him, and it's a lot. It's a stage. It's kind of big on the team that's not big enough. And Matt Rhule is getting fired, bro. It's like the window of him. He's gonna have to thread the needle. So well, and I'm 100. Cody, I've never been in such complete opposite perspective of all the other Panthers creators than I am on the Matt Rhule take of if he wins 9 games, he's keeping his job.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. And that was the question I wanted to pose to everyone here. I want to hear Greg and CK's opinion on this. But everyone in the chat room, to all 149 people listening right now, if let's say the Panthers just narrowly, by the skin of their teeth, make the playoffs next year, is that enough to guarantee Matt Rhule's job and say that they improved enough to guarantee him a 4th year on that 7-year contract that we signed him to?
And let's just frame this a little bit more. And just to give you guys some context, is that we went on PMP last night, and this isn't the first time we've been on with the same sort of panel of people. And the belief they have, particularly Dave, has a strong belief that Matt Rhule is there's a strong chance he's going to have his job regardless. That's what they were intimating a lot, is like that he is playing for his job, but like he doesn't have to super succeed for him to keep his job. Like, he just has to show some growth. They have, and I'm probably depressing their standards a little bit. They have said playoffs, right? Is like this wild card entry, but we could have made the playoffs at 9-8 this year, guys. Right? Like, teams are making it as this. So again, like Cody phrased it, if you back into the playoffs, think of the 2014 Carolina Panthers where we were 7-8-1, but we made the playoffs. Yeah, we made the playoffs.
Well, even they won their first playoff game. Let's say we're one and done.
Well, we did play we played a backup quarterback at home. Right, it wasn't fair. I mean, like, it was like we played like PJ Walker in that game.
We won a playoff game.
What does it take for Matt Rhule to keep his job? Is another way to say.
I think that if we make the playoffs, well, hold on. It depends, like you said, narrowly. Like, it depends upon if we narrowly, in an aspect of like our wins are all against losing teams, right? Teams that are garbage. And we didn't even destroy them, but the losses were massive, right?
You mean like this past year?
Right. But the opposite. Like, let's say we pulled out all those wins against these bottom tier teams that we faced. And as long as we didn't get blown, like if we got blown out by the better teams, then we're still not a competitive team in this league, right? We may have made it into the playoffs, but like this year shows that with more games on the schedule and with more people in the playoffs every year, like, it's going to be one of these circumstances where it's possible for you to back in. I think that would be the only case where we make the playoffs and he's fired, is if we only make it by beating bad teams and we didn't even really beat them well.
Right. Did like the Steelers a few years ago.
Yeah. Greg, what does does Matt Rhule, how does he save his job?
Unfortunately, I agree with what you were saying about what they were saying on the PNP podcast. I don't think that I want Matt Rhule to get fired. But listen, if he wins 8 games next year, that's a 60% improvement from what he's done. That's bad. Winning 3 more games is a 60% improvement, and that sounds really good. And
Jeff Bezos would fire his fucking ass.
I'm not the guy who hired Matt Rhule. So I don't like the guy, so I want him fired. But they did hire him, and they signed him to 7 years. I think that if he wins 8 games next year, maybe even 7, he's keeping his job.
Listen, I don't want him to be here because I'm tired of having a coach that's the laughing stock of the NFL.
Like, oh my gosh,
that's like in the coaches like pictures. That's all you had people talking about was Matt Rhule, like
joke.
Yeah, like it's just
is that if the harder you get coached, the harder we coach. I mean, it's just a fucking shit show.
I'm just tired of listen, I mean, when we had Cam, I got tired of the criticisms that Cam had to endure. Like, but it was almost
exhausting.
Like, we don't like him, and we have to still deal with these criticisms and people like using it as an insult against us. Like, when we're probably going to be joining in, like, it's just irritating. I want to have a coach like that actually, number one, that dresses the part, that is showing up. Like, you can be a great coach, but if you're not coming in there and actually taking, like, I guess you can look at Bill Belichick and say that, like, he's not the most well-dressed coach, but like, put a little effort into it. I mean, that's my only thing.
I know you're listening, David Tepper, and listen to me right now. You are no Jeff Bezos. You are no Jeff Bezos. I want the chat to call in at 252-228-5098, and you tell us what needs to happen for Matt Rhule to keep his job. Is backing into the playoffs enough? Is winning 9 games and missing the playoffs narrowly enough? Hey, I want to remind you, Marty Schottenheimer got fired after going 14-2. 14-2, and my man got fired.
Good point.
Now, that was a mistake, but there ain't no mistake in firing a guy that went 9 and what would it be? 9-8? Get out of here, bro. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's field a couple of calls before we go on to the next conversation. Still a lot of cool stuff to talk about On top of that, I've got to tell you this, Scott Fitterer got clowned by the internet, or maybe he's clowning us. I haven't figured it out. There's a lot that's still to talk about. Call in 252-228-5098.
What are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, guys? It's Smooth C. What if I was to tell you that was a group of Panther fans, including some of you on the show, that wants to draft a quarterback in the top 10 that has one of the worst QBR ratings of this draft group, and it has a uncatchable pass rate of 40%. You would think that was ridiculous, wouldn't you? Well, guess who that is? That's Malik Willis. Yeah, 40% uncatchable pass rate. That is awful. You know what that turns into? That turns into a turnover machine in the NFL. I'll pass on that. I'm not too sold on Pickett either. To me, if they go for a quarterback, which there's none really worth
Bailey Zapp.
Zap.
Corral. I think he's got the best whole body of work. I think they should go offensive tackle or even an edge rusher.
Look, there are some question marks when it comes to Willis, right? Is that there's some unknowns that go into it.
Can we also acknowledge real quick a couple of things? I personally believe you put Malik Willis on Alabama or the Tigers or any of these teams that have the top tier talent to help him out, you're gonna have those numbers inflated tremendously. The other side of it, this is Liberty. It is a very new club to big. Like this would be the first quarterback ever drafted in the NFL draft from this university. Okay. So let's put that into perspective as well. He's not dealing with this top tier offensive coordinator or QB's coach that are actually getting him like helping him understand defenses as well. Like he is a project, and nobody's ever said anything other than him being a project, right? Like but the problem is his upside is just hard to turn away.
The chat is already on top of it. Is that the thing is Josh Allen completed less than 50% or something of his passes in college, and now he's a monster. On top of that, the counter argument is, what about these guys like Cole Kelly, who completed 73.6% of his passes, or Bailey Zapp, who completed 70% of his passes on so many of these. And look, I ain't even trying to dump on these guys, but the point is, look, is you have a point, caller. You have a point. Is that those are the question marks that loom over that's the risk. That's the risk. It's like you are kind of, if we're playing roulette in Vegas, is Kenny Pickett is betting on red and black. You know, is that you have a 50% chance of winning, a 50% chance of losing. Betting on Malik Willis is like betting a row or a block of numbers, right? But the payoff is could be bigger.
Right.
So, and I want to bring this up. I saw this and I thought I was clever right here, guys. No comments. Don't put any comments up right now, Cody. We don't need to cover my man Malik up. But who says there's no class when it comes to this QB group this year? I'm telling you, my man is all class. Malik Willis, this is what happens. Malik Willis is, just doing his thing. He's very happy. He's very optimistic. He's very blessed. But that's what he's arguing. He put this up. He put a tweet up. He said he did praise glory to God, right? And he's sort of like mentioning Liberty football. He's just excited that he's getting this opportunity. It seems like Joe Person, quote, retweeted him and said Malik Willis will be a hit in Vegas. And this guy put in Charlotte, This is a response. So this was at Wang Manger. He says, in Charlotte, you mean? This is a jolt of this is the jolt of energy this franchise needs. Now, James Edgar at James Edgar 70, and maybe 70 years old for all I know. He did say this. He said, no, we need a starting QB, not a career backup with lots of energy. Now, these guys forgot Malik Willis was tagged in this because it was a quote retweet. Malik Willis responds to James Edgar's criticism. Now, remind you, James Edgar is saying he's a career backup that just has a lot of energy and that Carolina doesn't need that type of quarterback. And Malik Willis said, facts. Carolina don't need a career backup. They need a starter, homie. This guy, look, you can't handle this better than that, bro. You cannot handle this criticism, this doubt, this moment better than that. Class. Cody, and he gives away clothes.
Yeah, everything about him says that he is a franchise quarterback material. And listen, I mean, okay, I don't want to be too dismissive of people that are looking at, like that last caller, people talking about
right.
It's
a legitimate point.
Yeah, no one is saying that it's a bad argument. What I am saying, though, is that if you have a player who has those kinds of deficiencies, then you say, okay, what does he have about him that tells me that he could make up for those deficiencies or that he could get better and be a better player than what we're currently looking at on film? And I'm here to tell you that the same type of thing that Justin Herbert had going for him, a high GPA, very intelligent, scored very high on his Wonderlit test. This man is an intelligent young man. If you put him in a better system, a better offensive system, with a better quarterback coach, Sean Ryan, who helped Deshaun Watson become the NFL player that he is today, and you add Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, and you mix it with that kind of elite athletic prowess at the quarterback position, I'm telling you, man, I don't see it being such a far leap to assume that Malik Willis could be far more ready to play football than people are giving him credit for. That, like my man CK said earlier, there were no number one wide receivers at Liberty. This is the first player that they've ever had drafted in the first round in Malik Willis. So this is not a team of guys that have the talent to be able to showcase the kind of ability that Willis has. So
look at this comment from Lee. He said, look at the All-Star game where Malik had tons of receivers, a different coach, a good O-line. He's still one reading. He can't read a defense. Let's pull the game up and watch it all together. Now, I want to bring this up. First of all, is that he played less than a quarter. Part of it was a 2-minute drill where I think he ran like 40 yards trying to get a touchdown, and he almost did it, I think. Could be wrong on that. But let me put this up as limited opportunity, like limited sample set, number one.
Sure.
Number two, is that, look, all of these, unfamiliar with anybody. All this is like, come on. Is that like, are you game prepping? Are you game planning for the Senior Bowl? No. Come on. No. Yes, there is more talent there, but it's not like he played a season at Alabama and he stunk like this.
Right.
And then the other thing is could we not say the same thing about Pickett? Couldn't we say, well, look, you could look at all this. He didn't do crap. He fumbled the ball 7 times or whatever in the rain.
Right.
You know, is that like, I understand people's not hesitation, trepidation when it comes to this. Like, there is risk involved with a player like this.
True.
But I also want to implore y'all to think that taking the safe dude, the safest of safe dudes, there's a risk of it never being great as well. And I want to just remind you of 11 years ago to the day when people were trying to tell us that Blaine Gabbert was the safe, the better prospect. Charlie Casserole, or whatever I call him, Charlie Casserole. I hate this fucking dude. He said I would take Blaine Gabbert 99 out of 100 or 9 out of 10 times over Cam Newton. And I'm sorry, like I just don't want you to be paralyzed by fear, people.
Yes.
Don't be Look, what's the worst that's going to happen? It doesn't work.
Yeah, but I wanted to highlight this from Paul Mancini. He says, "I see no comparison with Josh Allen and Malik Willis. Allen is 6'5", 245, athletic, played at least division." So look, my thing is this, right?
First of all, Josh Allen didn't even get an offer, bro. He didn't even get an offer.
But listen, being 6'5", 245 pounds is obviously an advantage. Like no one is going to say that it isn't. Just like it was an advantage for Cam Newton. Like, when you're that big and that strong, it's an advantage. It doesn't mean that you have to be built that way in order to draw comparisons from them. Because at the end of the day, what can Josh Allen do? And again, Josh Allen has proven himself to be a very high-level NFL quarterback. But from a traits perspective, as in what you would ask a quarterback to do in your offense, what is it that Josh Allen does that Malik Willis can't do? They're both
only see over the line. The real question is this: is that the height question just comes down to this: does this make it difficult for them to throw down in the middle of the field more? And a good example. First, I want to say this is that he's not that short. Right, he's not under. He's 6'1" or 6 3/4. Right,
He's like 6 foot nothing. He's a 6 foot and some change.
Okay, but that's fine. But he's not under 6 foot, right? Like, so I mean, like he isn't. You're right. Is like, I mean, these other Kenny Pickett's 2 inches taller than him, and that is a big difference. Like, I mean, I'm 5'9 3/4. I thought I was 5'10 my whole life, or my whole adult life. Turns out they pushed my hair down. They did the measurement at the doctor one day and ruined my whole self-esteem. 5'9 3/4. And it's 3/4, folks. It is 3/4. I want that 3/4. Yeah, I'll take it. Just like Kenny Pickett's expanding his hand. He's like, oh, it's a 1/6 of an inch bigger than you said it was.
At that point, aren't you allowed to round up? Like, now, just say 5'10". Who gives a shit?
Okay. All right. Well, my wife will joke on me on this, but the whole point that I'm trying to make is this: is like I'm not under my look. Is that he is shorter? But look, he's not Kyler Murray short,
right?
And Kyler Murray, and we have talked to guys that have told us that Kyler Murray he feels like he tends to throw the outside because of the vision problems. So, I mean, there is a realistic thing is his height. Look, there are concerns when it comes to Malik Willis. I want to acknowledge the caller and saying, has he done the passing things that other people have? But I would say this is like, come on now, is really Matt Corral going through all these reads? Was Cam Newton going through all those reads back in the day? The college system is built to be fast and simple.
Yes.
Right? That's the whole thing. Is that like they don't want it to be complicated? They don't want you going through this read. So I don't believe just because he hasn't done it, he can't do it. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, my biggest point were the San Francisco 49ers fools for taking Trey Lance. And if you say they're fools, straight fools, they traded up a lot for him. What's the difference? If Josh Allen isn't a good comparison, I think that Trey Lance is a good comparison to Malik Willis. Mm-hmm. And the only difference being between these two quarterbacks is height.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the only difference.
Yeah. I agree with the Trey Lance way more than Josh Allen. Look, I kind of get what you're saying with Josh Allen, Cody. But here's the thing. Josh Allen is a MVP level fantastic quarterback who led a team the last 2 years and a fantastic run, their entire season.
Who also
They could have given up on him too.
If
Who was
Malik
also-
Willis is that, then he should hands down be the consensus number one top guy on the board for quarterback, and he's not.
But Josh Allen wasn't the consensus number one.
But Josh Allen is now.
Patrick Mahomes wasn't the consensus number. That's our
Right, that's what we're
point. Is
saying,
this?
Greg. You have to project into the future a little bit when evaluating these guys.
There's
because
risk. There's risk
Yeah.
with every single
okay.
one of them.
Even
nobody
add to
thought
that.
Josh Allen. Yeah.
Keep in mind, Josh Allen was not the starter his rookie year either. Nathan Peterman was starting before him.
Yeah, but it didn't last very long. But that is true. That
And
is
Josh
true.
Allen had two kind of rough first 2 seasons. He
Yeah.
didn't really play that well his first 2
Yes,
seasons.
that is all. That's a great point.
Right? Is that there was a lot of question marks, and there not question marks, but a lot of concern. And this is what I'm saying is that whoever we pick, I want us to believe in them enough to where if they don't come out and just win like crazy in year one, that you go, oh, we can't do it. I want to bring this up as somebody in the chat. I'm going to add this. They said that's a terrible argument. Why Big Jordan? Oh, actually, maybe it wasn't. Okay, so I was going to say, y'all call in. The number's 252-228-5098. You see the number on the stream. The stream. You get in this conversation. What do the Carolina Panthers need to do? Let's go to part 2 of the call. I like this caller.
What's
He's
up?
straight and to the
I'm
point.
gonna do an ice up to Tony.
Oh, damn it. I don't like you no more.
Wednesday, I go into work and I look forward to listen to the C3 podcast from Tuesday night.
Oh no.
Man, you didn't post that shit until
know.
Monday of the following week.
I know.
What's up with that, man? Quit being the slack.
You're right. Number one, it was a big error. Let me tell you exactly what happened is we get a certain. All right, so when I get done with the podcast, StreamYard, and this is one of the reasons we moved to StreamYard. Like the best functionality, the reason I pay $50 a month for this is the best functionality is you can hit download audio.
Yep.
After when it's over. Now it takes a while. Like you, man, I usually go to bed and then like it'll be ready when I wake up in the morning. But because we put out so much freaking content, our account, we get 50 hours of record time. So when I hit live last week, it said, oh, you can go live, but it ain't recording because your cloud is full. So I'm like, shit. So this is what happens is that like now how do you get around this afterwards? So what you got to do is fine. It streams to everything. So then you got to let it go to YouTube. Then you go to YouTube and you download the file.
Yep.
And then you got to convert that video file to an audio file. But YouTube, because our show is 3 hours long, it takes like 3 hours before you can download it. So anyway, I did this at work the next day. Shh, don't tell my work. Don't tell them. I downloaded it. I was going to convert it. I got busy. I had to leave. And then on top of that, I didn't go back to work the next day. I was sick. Like I couldn't go back. So the file was there. That I was sick. I didn't do it. So it ended up, I still had to convert it at home days later. It still took 70,000 hours. You're right, though. You're right. Slack. And my man, you deserved a podcast on Wednesday. You do. You do. 252-228-5098. I'll take my ice. I'll take
At
it.
least
That was
people
ice.
want to hear us,
cold.
right?
Oh, I
It's a
love
good
it,
problem
man.
to have.
Love it, dude. Man, I'm telling you, it's just is that Greg's over there. He was giggling. He was laughing. It's a struggle late at
I
night.
felt that pain. Yep. I've done had to do the exact same
It's
thing.
a struggle, man. And then it takes like so long for Google to process that video.
Yep.
Oh. 252-228-5098.
What up, C389? J Stubbs here. Hope everybody's
Stubbs.
having a great day. I just want to say thank you to Tony, Cody, the Bat Daddy, the voice that makes the moist, CK. I really appreciate y'all, man. Since David Tepper took over, it's been a disaster. So I just want to say thank y'all for keeping us sane the past 3 years, man. Really kind of bringing us together, because this shit, it's at an all-time low, man. It's like Bitcoin right now. tanking. But hopefully we have a good show today, and I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
My man Jay Stubbs, always rolling hard in the Friday free for all, big
Always,
time.
man.
There's no bigger Panther fan out there, but he brought this up. All time low is what he said. It is, but folks, it's tough. It's tough times. These are the times that try men's souls, as Thomas Paine wrote once. He was also writing about something way more important, and that the American military was about to flounder to the British. But we are floundering under Matt Rhule's rule. And my buddy sent me this, and I guess this is a Barstool show. He's watching it on his TV. So he sent me a picture of his own television. And it looks like they're playing a team trivia. Like, it looks like these two teams are playing trivia, these guys on the internet, which is kind of a great idea. We need to do some shit like this.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
But it says this is from 2000 through 2009, 2 NFC teams ended the year with exactly 1 win. Only 2 teams. The Rams and what other team? Well, why do you think he sent it to me?
Because it's the Carolina Panthers.
And to be, we almost did it twice, homie.
No.
We almost did it twice. We did 1 in 15 and what? 01 or 2000, 2001? Yeah. And then that Jimmy Clausen was 2 in 14 year. So these are you're right, Jay Stubbs. We got you, bro. And you know what? You got us. You keep us going, bro. Man, you show up in the Friday free for all. You show up in the chat. There ain't no better Panther fan out there than Jay Stubbs. And when I'm not trying to disparage y'all either, folks, is that y'all are great. Great fans. Great call. 252-228-5098.
I want to say, hold on. I want to say one more thing. Like, and I've said this before too. I want y'all to know, one, Jay Stubbs. That's my guy, man. Jay Stubbs.
He's a good dude,
homie,
man.
The absolute homie. But number 2, man, like, it's 10:47 on a Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
We still got 155 people watching us, man. Like, the fact that the fact that this podcast means so much to so many, and it does help people get through tough times, not only as a Panther fan, but just when you need something to listen to and hang out with the boys and have the banter. That's what this podcast is for, man. For the fans, by the fans. You know we love y'all, man. This you guys make us excited to do this show, even when the Panthers smell like a bag of baby diapers that have been used.
Yeah. On top of that, man, y'all got me through the pandemic, bro. Like, I was like, straight up, I'll strap up and do this pandemic life forever. I hang out with my friends every Tuesday night. I do all this. Like, oh, I get to hang out with them more. Now we can do a Wednesday show. Now we can do. Y'all the best. Y'all the best.
Hey, this is Kevin from Charleston.
Kev,
let me get your thoughts on this aspect that might happen. Scott Federer, I believe he said there's other ways to get draft capital besides trading back. And I remember him saying that like a couple months ago. So I'm thinking right now, like, could they draft a tackle and then trade a player and maybe a draft pick, get back into the first round to get a quarterback? I mean, Cody, you keep bringing up, Brady Christensen, how he can be, a great left tackle. Well, if we move him to right tackle, draft our left tackle, trade Taylor Moton, maybe for a first rounder, and get our quarterback. I mean, you're all good. You're all hyped on Brady Christensen. You truly believe in him. Put him on the right. Get, Evan Neal if he falls. Put him on the left. Trade Taylor Moton. Get another first. Get a quarterback.
Peace. I like that he's thinking about different scenarios. That I don't know. I guess the only hard part about that is Taylor Moton being the only proven offensive lineman that the Panthers have. To trade him away and just assume that Brady Christensen can step up, that would be a tall order. And by the way, I do think that Brady Christensen can play right tackle. In fact, if you remember, I was calling for Taylor Moton to play left tackle last year at the start of the season and Christensen to play right tackle because the Panthers were telling you that they viewed Christensen as a right tackle more than a left. So, I mean,
the only thing I don't like about it, Cody, is that Brady Christensen has been a left tackle his entire career. Right? Is that like, why experiment at other positions before you just experiment at the position?
Yeah.
Taylor Moton works on the right. Like, let's not put him. That's why I didn't like the moving him to the left side thing. It's like, all right, well, look, it's like he ain't done nothing wrong on the right. Just keep him there. Fine. Is that we got to solve this other thing. The one thing, though, about trading Taylor Moton, though, that is interesting is that, like, it does free up space, money, right? Is like he is, we paid him. And he is very good, but he is not great.
I was gonna say, would he get a first round? Could we get a first round pick out of him if we try to trade him?
No, probably
I don't
not
think we
a
could.
first round pick.
To be honest with you,
Probably get a second. You could probably get a second easy.
And by the way, completely.
And it's expensive to move up, folks. I'm telling y'all, I've been watching these draft things where you guys are doing all these mocks and this and that. It's more expensive to move up than people make it out to be.
Expensive.
Look at what the damn Saints just gave up. They gave up a shit ton, bro. They gave up next year's first.
but they got two.
But they got two. Yeah, I mean they got a
they kept a. I mean they gave their first, like they swapped first.
They gave their first, and they got two. They gave two firsts and got two firsts.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
and there was like 5 other picks they gave too.
Before we let it get too far past, I just want to let CK know that I am definitely going to be reusing this. The voice, the make 'em moist. Shout out to Jay Stubbs for that one, dude. That was fantastic.
That is.
Jay Stubbs killed it with that one.
Next call.
Hey guys, it's Joey.
Dude, you better tell your wife that when you leave this podcast.
Oh no, I'm not going to be able to talk to her.
But I was thinking that I know we need one. I know we do. Trust me. But I don't want a quarterback this year. And I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, but it's going to be a question. And the question is, how much better will a quarterback make us this year? How much better would any of the quarterbacks in this class make us this year?
How much better will any one player make us, though?
500. We're not wanting to be a couple games above 500. We're either wanting to make the playoffs.
If you didn't roar, I would bounce you, Joey, right now.
Because this middle of the road bullshit is getting old. It's been old. So you got to think, would a quarterback make us better this year? And I honestly think it's just a thirsty ass move.
No, you're right about that. It might be a little thirst to it.
It did happen. My girlfriend and I did break up due to the distance and the fact that none of us could drive to see each other. That would be like me going out and just getting any chick I see because, well, I'm thirsty.
Well,
I mean, are you thirsty? I mean,
no.
Yes.
I think we should wait. I think we should get a pick that would make us better than a quarterback would make us, especially when we don't have very many picks at all. So, what do you guys think about that? Anyway,
I mean,
I think that was the joke, by the way. I think that's what you meant. But I mean, look, like I hear that, but Tony made the point though. If you don't want, to anyone out there, to Joey, to anyone out there who really feels like we would be better off passing on a quarterback, it's then your job to argue on how you think that the Panthers will somehow be more competitive not drafting on quarterback than they would be just drafting a left tackle at 6. Because my thing is this: if you don't believe that if you draft an offensive tackle, if you're thinking this is going to be what gets Matt Rhule fired, then that's for sure not what they're looking to do. They're not looking to do that.
And what does he do to next year as well? If you draft an offensive tackle, yes, the team will be better, right? Like I'm kind of tired of this argument too. It's like, oh, imagine if we would have had CMC last year. Well, like how many wins would that have ultimately equated to? In the most generous scenario would be 2 wins. The most generous scenario, like, is like, how about this? If we draft a left tackle and we draft a quarterback, right? You got those 2 options. Are the win totals going to be significantly different either way?
No, they aren't.
I mean, like, you're probably going to, like, if anything, you're likely going to stink no matter what.
Right.
Not no matter what. That's not fair,
Tony,
but like.
But how about this, though? At least you know that if you have the young quarterback, at least you have the opportunity to boom. At least you have the opportunity to surprise people. Because, for example, okay, everyone assumes that Malik Willis isn't ready, right? But no one thought Justin Herbert was ready either. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Malik Willis is ready, more ready than we thought. Now you have DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, a new and improved offensive line. On top of that, I don't want Panther fans to forget about Brady Christensen, and that every time we saw him last year playing left tackle, Brady Christensen looked good. He looked good. The only thing that we wish that we would have had more of is more of a sample size of him playing that position. But we already know Matt Rhule robbed him of that opportunity. So on top of
everybody has been backtracking. Scott Fitterer, even the new offensive line coach, a lot of shade they're throwing on that decision making.
Right. I'm telling you, man, Matt Rhule has had a rude awakening, and that's why I feel that David Tepper has given the reins to Scott Fitterer this offseason and not Matt Rhule. I genuinely believe that, with all things considered. And like I said, at least you have the opportunity to be a boom offense if you have the quarterback. Whereas on the vice versa, if you grabbed a franchise left tackle, that's definitely something that the Panthers have been in desperate need of.
Sure.
Sam Darnold is not going to do.
The sad thing is Sam Darnold might get you 9 wins with a great offensive line. And then what happens? Then what do you do? I guess that's my thing is then what? Then what? Do you try to add pieces? If you have 9 wins, you want to start all over? I don't know. Joke of the night. Joey said that him and his girlfriend broke up because they couldn't see each other. Next call.
I love it when cripples make cripple jokes.
It's your boy Mike.
AKA Supreme League.
What's up, Mike?
Hope you boys are enjoying this turbulent Tuesday that we had down here in the South Kakalaki. Shutting schools down for a little baby storm.
What?
But whatever. So, hey man, that was cool seeing y'all. Tony, Cody, on the
PMP,
that mock draft roundtable. That was a cool little thing.
They don't get our sense of humor though, or mine anyway.
This, that, and the third, but the truth is, you're just gonna have to wait and see. I see the Saints done loaded up, and a lot of things could happen. They could, if Detroit doesn't like Malik or whoever, then they could trade up right in front of us and take them. I wouldn't be mad. Whatever way the draft shakes out, I see that we're either going to get a stud at 6 or we're going to get some low-key studs by trading back and trying to recoup those picks. Either way, we're just going to have to wait and see. I'll see it when I believe it. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick little shout out. I want to shout out to all my autistic cats. The Autism Society. It's Autism Acceptance Month or
Shout
Autism
out.
Awareness Month, whatever you want to call it. I got to give a big shout out because out of my 3 boys, my middle son is autistic, and I don't mean like the good doctor autistic. It's what I call that real autism. So
On the spectrum, like
get
we
out
get
there,
that.
guys. Support a charity. That's mine. It's close to my heart. So
Good on you,
like
man.
I keep doing for him. I'm gonna keep pounding.
And it's a very common too.
Awesome. Hey, man, people with autism, man, parents of children with autism will tell you that for as rough as things might be, they are a joy and a light to your life, man. And I'll say this, man, like, people know I'm disabled. I'm in a wheelchair. When I was growing up, if you had pretty much any kind of disability of any kind, they all stuck you in the same classroom. Pretty much, whatever kind of help you needed, there were certain kinds of classrooms that were prepared to do that. So I got put into classrooms with people with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome and autism. And dude, I've made lifelong friends, man, with people with autism and people with all kinds of disabilities. So definitely shout out to all of our autistic brothers and sisters, man. A shout out to Mike, man, for raising that beautiful baby.
Yeah, thank you for that cause. Support that cause. It's because it does affect so many people. I mean, it is. It's not an uncommon thing, right? Is that there are a lot of people that are dealing with challenges in their life with their children, their family, and blessings as well. So there's different ways of. I want to bring this up is so perfection. I got you, bro. I got you. He says, so Westry is a Matt Rhule type of player, but Fitter is in charge. Y'all can't make up your minds. Actually, you know what? Is we could say this is that he might be a Matt Rhule type and a Scott Fitterer type. If you go back to Seattle has like some very specific qualifications with arm length for corners that they put on. Like they exclude dudes all the time because of that. They have a Fitterer about them. So, I mean, not bad, but like good point. I mean, like, hey, bring it. But you're right. Is that like who is in charge? We're actually trying to figure that out. That's a great question. Who's in charge? Next call.
Yeah.
Ooh, glad I kept it clean. I kept it clean.
What's up, Noah?
Maybe 2. I don't know how long I say it. But look, I think that we're not going to get Malik Willis. I think that it's going
Detroit's
going
to take him.
10% chance that we may get him. I feel like it's going to be some other team that's going to swoop in and just get him. Better not be the Saints.
I hate to say it, but I believe that's probably going to happen.
I think we got a better chance of getting Kenny Pickett. Somebody in the chat just said he's his finger is so often you can see the bone pop out of it. But
is he talking about Pickett?
Yeah.
We have a better chance of getting Kenny Pickett than Malik Willis because Malik Willis is like a good quarterback, and I think that he's going to. I think hopefully, prayerfully that it's not going to be the Saints. If it's going to be the Saints, then I don't know.
Cody got some disciples, bro.
But yeah, I'm
telling you, man.
But I think it's going to be Kenny Pickett. I think you have a better chance.
I think he's right about that.
Than any other quarterback. Keep pounding,
keep pounding. No,
love you.
Powerful.
Great call, man. My man always destroys it. You know what? He's coming back for a little more.
And I got one more thing to say. people in Panthers Nation. And it's probably gonna hurt some of y'all feelings. But Cam is not coming back.
Thank
Let's
God.
face it, people. Cam has bigger things to do in life than come back to the Carolina Panthers.
This kid's so smart, man.
This man got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And other
He don't want to
teams
mess with the
interested in
Panthers.
him. He don't want to come back to Carolina. Carolina did Cam dirty. Carolina Panthers did Cam Newton dirty.
No
Twice.
preaching out here.
A lot of people say he's gonna come back. I doubt it. Like, I really doubt it. Maybe, but I doubt it. Keep pounding. I'm out.
Keep pounding, man. The younger generation is out here, Tony. Noah bringing the heat with both.
He's
of these
absolutely right
balls,
too
man.
about the Cam Newton take. There's two things that we need to think about as fans. Is number one is Cam got done dirty once by the Panthers with Matt Rhule and this, and then Matt Rhule has been sycophanting to him like, oh, he's like this great dude, man. Like they put him in terrible positions. They made him be the team leader. They made him go, not made him, but they asked him to go out there, and Cam did everything. He answered every call when it came to the press, when it came to the team, when it came to played it all right.
Being benched for Sam Darnold.
Boom. All of this. And then at that same time, you're going to try to say that he saw the shit show, bro. That's the problem. Is Cam got to see behind the curtain. He was like, oh God, I don't want to be here. And Cam doesn't want to be in Carolina anymore. And I don't blame him. And number two, I don't want Cam in Carolina. I know that sounds like it's like a heresy in Panther Nation.
No longer stand with Cam.
Oh, I'm wearing the shirt right now. I stand
How
with
can
Cam.
you say that then?
I do not want to exploit my man anymore.
We've abused him enough.
It's exploitation, dude. It is exploitation to ask him to basically be the fall guy, the patsy for the problems that truly and really exist.
Right.
So no, I want Cam Newton. Yes, would I love to see Cam Newton have a one last hurrah in Carolina? Sure. But I also wanted Cam Newton to just have one last hurrah, period. That's why I strangely was cheering for him with the Patriots. Like, I just want a player that means so much to me to go out on a better note than injury and disappointment.
There's a question that I think it warrants to be asked in this situation, and that is, if we have a better offensive line, we have an offensive coordinator that in Ben McAdoo has proven to be able to game plan around quarterbacks and their strengths, right? Then we have the potential for an entire offseason. Do you not think that would be a good thing for Cam Newton? To be able to come here and compete for that starting role?
Sounds good to me.
Whether he gets it or not is up for debate. I've been known as being a bit critical of Cam Newton over the past year or two, because it did feel as though Cam Newton is not the same Cam Newton that we know and love from a quarterback perspective. Playing the game of football on a professional level. But like, do you, if you believe that he's capable of that, Tony, wouldn't that be a good thing for Cam Newton?
All right. I'm back all in on Cam Newton.
That didn't last long.
Make a fair
Let's
point.
draft Icky Aquanu, bring in Cam, and have a great offensive line, and make Ben McAdoo. You know what? Cam Newton's going to save Matt Rhule's career. I asked you how Matt Rhule could keep his job. Imagine if it's fucking Cam Newton that saves it.
Cam, dude, there is no
I just
story.
don't want to do him wrong.
There's no story that I'm rooting for more than that. Okay, honestly, what I'm honestly hoping happens the most: sign Cam Newton, draft Malik Willis. Like, that's honestly that's the vibe I'm on. Malik could have a chance to learn under Cam, and then look, then no one has any more excuses. All the haters will finally be able to be vindicated if Cam Newton comes in and isn't able to do it, because then you've given him all the things that CK just mentioned.
You didn't give him youth and there's there's other things that are missing. But guys, Cam, I just don't want us to forget what Cam did for us, what he meant to us. Let's keep going. The calls are actually calling in.
What up, C3? Say your shit. The playoffs won't help Matt Rhule.
Jay, shoot.
Nothing should help Matt Rhule. I mean, we seen him at his highs and his lows really quick. I don't think David Tepper has any more after this season. He shouldn't. I mean, playoffs is not, and it shouldn't help Matt Rhule. The fan base already hates
I agree.
him. He's already getting picked at in public. You just got to get rid of the problem. There's no way around it. What I want at 6, if we had multiple picks and we didn't give them up last season, it would have been nice to get Pickett. I like Pickett over Willis. I do not like Willis at all. I love Cam to death, but it's just time to move on from that era.
Mm-hmm.
Willis is not. If he was Lamar Jackson and he was sitting there at 6, then I would take him. He's not Lamar. He's not explosive like Lamar. I don't care if you have less talent, all the talent in the world. No, I do not want Willis. But Matt Rhule has to go. Nothing can save him. That's where I'm going to leave it at.
I asked the chat room to keep it clean. And when I say keep it clean, I don't mean cuss words, things like that. But we don't say derogatory statements about race, class, gender, those types of things in this chat.
I didn't even see what you said.
Well, nothing bad. No, I mean, actually, I wasn't saying nothing bad. I mean, somebody got put in timeout. I TO'd somebody. Bro.
Yeah, man, definitely don't bring that
let's
stuff
just keep
to our
it
chat room, man.
Keep it real. I mean, all I'm saying is that let's just talk about this is you got quarterbacks you think are going to make it and that you don't. But I'm going to tell you this is I've seen a lot of white quarterbacks that ain't lasted. Homie.
Oh, I saw what you said.
So
yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
done.
And maybe I took it out of context. Maybe it was in jest. I don't know. But a little TO for you. I'm just going to say keep it clean on that. Next call.
And another thing, Mr. Issue. Where are we as an organization as far as what are we trying to accomplish roster-wise? If we are relying on the run, how come we won't get big guys in the trenches to be mobile? Why don't we draft like that? If we base upon passing, why don't we get stable men in the trenches? I don't understand why we just all around in a crayon box with players and not using them for what we need as a culture. I just never understood that. And we've been mediocre for years. Well, basically since we've been born. We don't have no identity. What are you guys' take on that? And
I want to say, look, I want to walk that back a little bit.
What we are trying to accomplish as a culture.
I want to walk that back a hair. Now, look, I understand. I think you got some good points, caller, on this. Is that like, where's the plan? Where is the continuity of that plan? Right? Is that you try to, like, you want a pocket guy, but then you don't get the offensive line. You want the, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all over the place. I agree with that. But it has been instability since Cam Newton was injured. Right? That's the thing, is like, let's not forget that the Carolina Panthers have been very relevant in their history as a football team. Yes, there have been a couple of bad years. The problem is this, is we're actually not used to this sustained badness. We're used to sustained averageness with spikes of exceptionalism. And here's the thing. The identity. You're right. We lack the identity. But how do you truly get an identity on a team? Right? There's only two ways.
Yeah.
There's only two ways. There is a quarterback that you believe in. The Green Bay Packers identity is Aaron Rodgers. The Kansas City Chiefs identity is Patrick Mahomes. The New England Patriots identity, honestly, was Tom Brady and everything around him. There's one way, and that is the quarterback. Without the quarterback, your offense has no identity.
Yeah.
On the other hand, on the other side is to get a defensive identity, you really have to have a superb defensive coaching staff with some sort of conglomeration of elite defensive talent. And that being maybe a general on the field to the effect of a Ray Lewis, a Luke Kuechly, and Ed Reed. Right. So I think that's hard to say we want to, and that's why I actually don't like Matt Rhule saying that we need an identity. We need an identity. Like, yeah, well, duh. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, you need to know what you're trying to do. But look, last night, we were on the draft. I almost lost it, dude. My head almost exploded with receipts, man. And this is what he said. He said, I've seen enough times where people have won with an average or below average quarterback. And then he said the name Brad Johnson. I was like, bro, that was 22 fucking years ago. You cannot be like, oh, I've seen this. And it was like, when? 18 years ago, I saw this. Well, yeah, like, you know what is that? I got BJ's when I was 17 too.
Talking about identity, you hit the nail on the head. If you don't have a franchise quarterback,
you're searching.
You're a team that's searching for one. And in the meantime, you might be built like the kind of team that San Francisco is. Like, if you have a dominant offensive line, if you have a good coach who knows how to scheme up a defense, and you have a bunch of other ways to manufacture yards, then yeah, you can win on the back of your defense and a good enough, competent offense. I think that
but they couldn't win. They didn't win the Super Bowl, bro.
Right. Yeah, and the years of that being able to win a championship, I personally think that they're over. Like, I don't think that you're going to see teams like the early.
They're abnormal. That's the point. It's abnormal. Tell me this: who was the last? Nick Foles.
Let's say Nick Foles, but he just had a good playoff run.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, he didn't even play the whole season. But you're right. But I mean, like, when was the last? What are the teams that won with average or below average quarterbacks? The trophy, the Lombardi. It is Nick Foles, Brad Johnson, which was 22 years ago, and I think the Ravens were somewhere in there with Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, but they also went with Joe Flacco. I'd put that team.
Joe Flacco was pretty. He was a little bit above average for a while, man. He had a 3-year run where he was.
They had when they would make the playoffs. Joe Flacco.
They said the 2015. Look, my man said the 2015 Broncos, and they had Peyton Manning. They had a Hall of Fame quarterback.
To be fair, Peyton Manning was a shell of himself.
That's fine, but he still wasn't. But calling him a below, that's not even a great argument because he is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he still has
just because you caught him at the end of his career. It's not like that wasn't their plan.
Would you say
let's get a over the hill veteran and with a great defense and we're gonna win a championship? That's not a good plan. That's not a great way. That's not. It might have happened. It's corollary, not causal. That's my point.
Greg, before you answer your question, Tony, would you also put maybe like an Eli Manning in that category as well? Like,
Eli's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he is a Hall of Famer. He won 2. Yeah, he's got more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers. He's got more Super Bowls than Drew
as
Brees.
many as Peyton. Yeah,
He
like-
beat.
Is he really a Hall of Famer?
Yes, he is a hands down Hall of Famer.
Look, I understand the argument,
Jack,
like
do
it's
you
kind of
agree with that?
borderline. No, he is above. He's head and shoulders above Trent Dilfer. He's head and shoulders above Brad Johnson. He is head and shoulders above. Who? I mean, like he turned out to be above average in the twilight of his career, but he was a solid starter for a while.
I would like to see a stat that shows quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls and how many of them are not in the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
Let me check
who
that
would
out.
not? I mean, like, in fact, how many? There can't be many. Because look, you're talking about the best quarterbacks in the history. Look, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning got 2, but if you're going to say that he just was on a good team, then he really only got 1. I don't know. That's a good question. Good question. All right, let's go to the next call. Let's bust through a couple more. They're short ones.
What y'all decision on what Anderson was doing in the office earlier, and that was on Twitter.
I couldn't make that call out.
Was
All right,
that the
next
end
one.
of the call?
My
Yeah, I
name is
didn't.
Wesley. I'm a Panther fan myself, and I heard about the draft. It's all been a lot of changes, but I've been watching the mock draft, and I do believe that the Panthers might pass on Willis, but my vote is Kenny Pickett. He can win it. Matt Rhule can win games with him instead of Sam Darnold. I think Kenny Pickett all the way.
Well, I think that's a very fair call, right? Is that this is like, I understand that we have a little darling in Willis, right? A guy that has the athleticism, but just because we see that upside, we sometimes, like, it's an unnatural shade that gets thrown at Kenny Pickett. Right? It's like, just because we believe in Willis does not mean that Pickett can't be good.
Right.
Or won't be good. And there's I'm telling you this, as long as I don't give a damn who we pick. If we trade back and pick Matt Corral, I don't even care if we pick Matt Corral at 6. I swear.
Yeah.
Like, if we pick, I just want us to believe that the guy we pick is the dude, or can be the dude. And so if they tell me, if Malik Willis is on the board and Kenny Pickett's on the board and they pick Kenny Pickett, I will say this, is that, yeah, I naturally kind of lent towards Willis, but I hope that Pickett, and I believe he can be the dude. Like, let's go get it. Like, give him a chance. Give him an honest shot. Don't put him in a place to lose entirely and give up. I just don't want us to give up on one person too quickly. And that leads to the conversation that a lot of people who are afraid, Cody, of taking a quarterback at 6, that is where their trepidation comes in, is that, hey, we pick a Willis, we pick a Pickett. It's so perfect. But then Matt Rhule gets fired. New coach comes in. People are scared of the Arizona scenario with Josh Rosen.
Right.
But I think you bring the best point up. Just because you're worried about your coach getting fired doesn't mean what, Cody?
It doesn't mean that's what,
You should pass on the dude.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you should pass on the dude knowing that these guys are going to outlast the coach. So, for example, everybody, they do this thing I've been hearing, in our chat room and on Twitter, where people are saying, oh, well, we might draft a quarterback, and then the next coach that we bring in doesn't want him. Well, no, then at that point in time, as an organization, that is your pitch to whatever coach you would be hiring.
Oh, you got to take over with Scam Darnold.
Yeah,
and,
you have this young, ultra talented quarterback on a rookie contract. You have a stout defense. You've done a lot of work on your offensive line and receiver position. You still have very good offensive weapons. And because we didn't trade for Deshaun, now in the years coming up, we have all of our picks intact. That quarterback is what would be a part of what sells our future coach to come to the Panthers.
On top of that, bro, imagine if you didn't have that quarterback, you're still getting the coach. What are you selling them? What are you selling them? On top of that, I'm so sick of this idea. It's like, oh, well, we don't have, like, how are you going to get a coach because you don't got a good team? Well, first of all, bad teams hire new coaches. No good teams hire new coaches. And who the hell turns down a head coaching opportunity? I'm sorry. I know you kind of throwing a little shade on you, Cody, because you were like, oh, who wants to come here? You're acting like they got all these choices. Eric Bieniemy still ain't got no job. He still ain't got a job. Matt Floyd, no job. Like, you think this is that we try to offer them to be like, nah, I think I'm just going to be his linebacker coach over here. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, no one's turning this. Yeah, go ahead, CK.
I was just going to say Josh McDaniels.
Well, he turned down the Colts. Well, you know what? I don't want to mess with the Colts. That Jim Irsay dude, he'd be popping them oxy, and he'd be feeling.
Also, he
it's
accepted
like
the Colts and hired. Sorry.
No. I mean, it's like if you're a coach, right, and you're gonna choose one of these teams, are you gonna go somewhere with a young quarterback on a rookie deal, or are you gonna go to a team that is still looking to upgrade that quarterback position after failing to do so 3 seasons in a row?
And you could still do what Arizona did. You can still come in if you really don't like Willis or Pickett that much. You can still take the job and say, we drafted another quarterback.
Like, if we draft Malik Willis this year and for whatever reason he doesn't pan out and we get the number 1 pick in the draft and we can draft CJ Stroud next year, then if that's what happens, then you do it, man. And by the way, Federer has even told you that they're not afraid of swinging the bat and missing, that they're willing to get back up to the plate and continuing to swing until they get their franchise quarterback. That's what the whole Deshaun thing was about.
Yeah, you have to play to win. You want to win the lottery, you got to play a ticket.
But there is a difference.
You're going to lose.
There is a difference between being afraid to swing and swinging with your eyes closed, though. So
True. But I mean, then you just have to not believe in these guys at all, and that's fine. If you don't, then don't. I want to bring this up because Kev's he's still hanging with us. Look, 2 hours, 25 minutes, 26 minutes in. Kev, our boy, and he's funny too. He didn't get my joke. I don't think he got my joke the other day. He had this comedy joke, and he was talking about this comedy stuff. I said, that's not funny. Anyway, he sent me this today, bro. He said, y'all enjoy. He always gets these gems on Twitter. Always finding these gems. How does he find this? How did my man find this? He sent me a picture today that said he Googled Scott Fitter. And his title on Google is soccer manager. Soccer manager is like, and look, it shows all these pictures of look, it's a picture with the Carolina Panthers. It's like this is like that soccer team won 1 fucking game or 2 games.
More relevant than the
now,
Panthers.
like he's like that.
It's a much more lucrative position to be in.
It's so messed up. It's like he wrote Google and he's like, can you change me from general manager of the Panthers to soccer manager? What the hell? Is this true? Did you fudge this?
He's gonna send in a name on draft night. They're gonna go up and they're gonna call somebody who's not even playing football, but playing soccer.
They're trying to get a guy from the European Soccer League or something. Like, no, he's not.
Dude, kudos to Kevin for finding that. He just Googled it. He said, I Googled it. It's so that.
No. I mean, look, but you can see it in his phone. I mean, he just put Scott Fitter in. And it comes up. This is why I put the clown show. The Carolina Panthers right now are clown show.
Mm-hmm.
Or
It's
is it
so
Google
crazy.
who's the clowns too?
No, or Google is smart enough to know.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Google is smarter than we. Google is smarter than Tepper.
He knows
Next call.
Fitterer would rather
Hey, guys,
be working
so-
with the soccer team.
Yeah, that was very loud. Hold on, I gotta turn this down because the last call was so low.
So I just joined because I usually do watch you guys' lives, and also I
Well,
couldn't
thank you.
join earlier because I had like work to do. But I'm very curious on.
Well, thank you for
Do you
support.
guys think we do draft a QB? And if we do, who do you think? Now, you guys might have said this earlier in the show, but I wasn't here, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm very curious to
All
see
good.
who you guys think would be the QB that we draft, or even if we do not draft a QB.
I think the ultimate question comes down to there's two ways to look at this. Is there's either no QB picked, right? Like as you get to 6 and they pick somebody else, they pick a left tackle,
Right.
which Evan Neal, the icky guy, because no one can pronounce his name. People are like this. My man last night said he would run barefoot to the podium and put their names in. But there's another thing is that there might be a chance that the Carolina Panthers don't get their pick of the quarterback, right? Is that like if one quarterback goes ahead of them, then they're left with the other guy. And so, I mean, there are some thoughts. Some people think that the Lions could potentially take Malik Willis. There's some smoke there. There's some smoke of the Saints trading up and liking Malik Willis. You know, there's a couple of scenarios where Malik Willis has been climbing the draft board. I have not seen a lot of talk or chatter about Kenny Pickett rising the ranks. So then I think the question is this, is that if Malik Willis goes ahead of time, at least according to the draft nicks, then you got to ask this, is that do you believe enough in Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral to pick them at 6? Or do you just take that tackle then? Because that's going to push a guy down on your board, push a guy into you. And so I guess that is ultimately what we're all interested in finding out.
Wake up.
I think the idea is that we could hopefully trade back and still land Pickett. Like that, we were working on those draft scenarios last night, and I just don't believe the draft simulators. But there is a place where we could trade back to 11, 12, 13, get Charles Cross, and even catch Kenny Pickett at like 19.
Yeah, but
20.
see, like my thing is this, man. When you look at Atlanta and Seattle and other teams that might be looking to trade into that area, I just don't see even Kenny Pickett falling that far. Maybe Matt Corral.
Washington helped us, man. Washington, by going out and getting Wentz, helped us.
Yeah, that did help
us because they were in the market. They wouldn't have let Pickett fall, but the is like we'll see at where's Seattle? We can go back just real quick.
Seattle's 9, Atlanta is 8.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean,
is that Atlanta's 8. So some people think, I mean, I don't know. Some people don't think they're ready to go after him, but I also don't think that dude loves Mariota. In fact, their coach, even though he brought in Mariota, he did better with Tannehill once Tannehill came in. Seattle needs a quarterback, and that's it. Right? So Atlanta, if they make it past Atlanta, Seattle, nobody else is drafting a quarterback up in here. Maybe Minnesota.
I mean, maybe
You are clear there. You could trade back with a Baltimore.
Well, but also look at New Orleans and Pittsburgh. Like these are two teams that have a lot of good
Pittsburgh's going to have to climb, though. Pittsburgh has to climb.
But okay, Pittsburgh made the playoffs this last year. So if Pittsburgh feels like they have the players to be able to make a push and all they need is a quarterback, then yeah, if they feel like Willis is a franchise guy, then they might not have a problem just going up to get whoever, or Pickett rather, whoever the guy is, be it Willis or Pickett. So I really don't think that. I mean, we know how quarterbacks are, man. Once teams value them, they'll do anything to get them. And I think
you know what? The Giants can't be completely off the table on a quarterback.
I mean, I wouldn't.
The Giants, the Texans, like there are teams out there. The Giants could surprise you. They've been coming out and throwing the shade about, or not shade, but saying Daniel Jones. But they ain't re-signing Daniel Jones to a real contract.
So I write for the Houston Texans, and all of their reporters,
off-grid me talking the same language.
All of their reporters are saying that Houston's confident in
Davis Mills.
Davis Mills being able to be their quarterback going forward. So I mean, the Panthers and the Lions hold all the cards as far as this quarterback draft is concerned, because that conversation for a quarterback really starts with those two football teams. So if the Lions don't trade out or don't take one of those quarterbacks right there, the Panthers are the next landing spot.
CK just sent something in the chat.
Yeah, I can pull it up.
Crazy.
Apparently,
this is accelerated or intensified.
Yes, it's intensified to a point to where state senators are condemning David Tepper's actions in South Carolina, along with the York people, town councils, or I guess council people believe that the Panthers are permanently out on the Rock Hill headquarters, as they have not resumed, and they are waiting for $240 million in tax-funded bonds to continue the project. As of right now, it's being stated that the Carolina Panthers are not interested in pursuing that any further, and they're going to be looking to try to return or get their money back, or recover.
Recover. Intends to seek to recover its expenses from Rock Hill. Man, this is going downhill fast, huh?
Yeah. Oh man, this is one of those situations where, you know, one of the things that I talked about was I've never been a big fan of taxpayers paying for billionaires to have basically a free headquarters, really.
Yeah.
If it boils down to it, and I know it's not a free headquarters because there's still expenses coming from him, but it's quite irritating to me that it's this mindset, and I think that you're going to see a lot of this mindset too. I think the Panthers are going to be heavily impacted in a negative way from fan bases, not only from a losing franchise, but from a northern owner coming in and treating the southern states like this is just unacceptable. And this isn't about a north versus south type of mindset. It's listen, we are in a part of the United States that kind of, let's be honest, they value a handshake, right? Yes. It's friendly, and to come in here and play it like this, it seems so underhanded and shady. And listen, it's frustrating to see this, and you know, Rock Hill may have done it to themselves by agreeing to do what they did, but
yeah, I'm going the other way, CK.
Yeah.
I'm going the other way. Is actually the first thing that comes to me is that a little bit is David Tepper getting pushed into such a crazy place where he has so much money, so much he can do whatever. He could just move the team.
Right.
I mean, he could that is the scariest part about this. This is where I don't sympathize. I'm not trying to condemn David Tepper on this. Is David Tepper does what rich people do.
Right.
And that is they leverage their power, their money, their influence to get the best damn deal they can. And Rock Hill got down on their knees for David Tepper to bring this there and made promises to him. They made promises to him about infrastructure, they not only gave him a discount, which their taxpayers should be upset with their representatives for this. That's what they ultimately should be. But not only this, but they didn't honor their agreement, and that you probably got some people that have new elected officials. You got new economic circumstances that have come out of the pandemic or whatever it is. And Rock Hill has not, at least from just a few things that I read, didn't honor what they said they would honor. Now, you can say that they shouldn't have made the deal in the first place. Okay, I'll be with you on that. Second, the fact that if Tepper thinks he can recoup his money from the city, that means they did something wrong. But didn't honor their agreement. And so what I would just say is that this is the problem with elected officials in a short-term period doing things that they don't really have an understanding of long-term ramifications of.
Do they not really have an understanding, or they're not really invested? Is really my thought. Is it
So
like
this article is kind of revealing to all of it because okay, real quick, check this out. State Senator Wes Clymer says if David Tepper's behavior is indicative of how the NFL does business, then who wants to do business with the NFL? The bottom line is that our community deserves answers. The city, the county, the state, and the Panthers work together constructively for a considerable period of time at great effort to bring Rock Hill a world-class sports entertainment center. David Tepper came to Rock Hill promising us Jerry Jones, and ever since then, he's given us Dan Snyder. Wow. Powerful words right there, man. Damn.
I want to know when these guys were elected. And look, I'm not a David Tepper fan. To be honest, I have started to backtrack the other way. But I have just realized that these super mega rich motherfuckers, they didn't get mega rich by being nice.
Right.
No,
they certainly didn't. And you know what is Tepper was he's ready to do all this. He's ready to invest all this. And they're like, you know what? We ain't making the payments. He's like, fuck y'all. All right.
No.
Then we just gonna practice in our little bubble over here. Jerry Richardson would have been practicing in the damn
ballroom at the hotel. And the final thing I'll say before we move on is that they're also going to say, frankly, there's a good chance David Tepper is playing high-level hardball with Rock Hill as a shot across the bow at Charlotte. The hard bargain Tepper has chosen to drive in South Carolina could be a precursor to the hard bargain he'll drive in North Carolina. Maybe that's why Tepper seems to be untroubled by the current situation. His deeper message could be far more pointed. Give me what I want, or eventually I will be gone.
I say call his bluff, bro. If I'm Charlotte, I say call his bluff. Move the team, then. Move him.
The problem is that is possible, right? The problem is that it is going to be a possibility that he's going to be able to move the team, because you're gonna see a state. Let's take a look at St. Louis, for instance, that is probably hungry.
Backward ass state, like, man, that they were desperately trying to get out of. It would be San Antonio where the
hold
team
on.
is.
You say backwards. Why do you say that?
Because like the economy in St. Louis isn't raging like Charlotte is. Why did the St. Louis Rams want to leave St. Louis is my question.
Isn't it a high crime area too, St. Louis?
Maybe my potential. I'm not even trying to say, but what I mean by this is it's not like a place that you're projecting long-term exponential growth
I'll tell you another
economically.
place. Austin, Texas, one of the fastest.
That is the
growing
one.
cities.
Austin, San Antonio, all those. All right, fine. Here's my argument against it, CK. And you're right. It's like he could do that. And it probably would bring him a small windfall monetarily in the short term. But look at this. Is we barely want to cheer. Look, we're dying to create a fan base for fucking Charlotte. How do you create a culture that spends money in a place that's like where you just pick up and move there and it's a bunch of retirees? That's going to be the most fickle fan base too. I think moving and leaving, I would not follow the Panthers if they left.
No, I wouldn't.
I tell you this is that if the Panthers leave Charlotte, I don't know what I would do. I might not be a football fan of a team anymore.
Just
I might
follow
just
players.
I might, yeah.
Hey, yeah, my man, why Big Jordan said that same thing. He said I would just be a fan of players instead of a team.
Yeah.
Either that or I would just be a Chargers fan. Go pick my favorite quarterback.
Your favorite player, and you would pull
yeah.
for them until you weren't, and then you would pick your next team like that.
Yeah.
Basically, no. So I think that Charlotte should call the bluff. You know what I'm saying? And I won't say call the bluff. I'm not saying that they have to play hardball where they don't do anything to make him happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, all right, you want to put a little tax dollars at it, but I don't think that. Don't let him big D you around. That's what I would say. Is you know what? Is you need us. You need us just as much as we need you.
I mean, it might be I mean, obviously we're almost at the end of the show here, so it's a question for a different day. But how many Panther fans would still remain fans if they did move? If they did move somewhere else, like
8%. Do you think it will? Give me the over under a percentage.
I mean, I don't know. That's not like I mean,
I think it would be less than 20%.
Less than of the entire fan base.
1 in 5 people would cheer for that team. Is what I'm saying. 1 in 5. How about this? Out of this chat, we got 4 right here. We got 4 people right here. Would you cheer for him?
I think I would cheer for him like quietly, but I'm not going to be an avid fan.
I mean,
I would fucking hate them, dude. If they moved, they would turn into the Saints to me.
It would be that would be a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, man. I mean, it would be hard to not root for them too, but at the same time, like if it's,
I ain't rooting for a dude that's worth $13 billion. Fuck him, man. Fuck him.
Doesn't the soccer team make this a little more like he just brought an entire soccer team to Charlotte.
An entire soccer team. Man, soccer, nobody even knows what the name of the team is. What's the name of the team?
It doesn't matter. It's a multi-million
dissolve that. If he's going to move the football team, you think the soccer team's going to hold him back?
Dude,
are they still selling out, by the way?
The amount.
Nope.
I mean, they're still putting people in.
Lower bowl.
The amount of hell that he went through to get the city of Charlotte to even accept an MLS team when they never wanted
accept them.
Yeah, dude, Charlotte never wanted an MLS team before.
They didn't pay for it though.
Well, dude, there were stories that Charlotte did not want an MLS team, even as recent as a few years ago.
All right, let's get to these calls.
Hey guys, this is Maurice calling out of Andrew, North Carolina.
2 more after this.
I've been calling since Joey and Mike Mayotte.
Oh man,
Tony,
love you, brother.
This podcast.
Thank you.
Been away for a while, but I'm back now. Been following you guys online.
Thank you,
And
brother.
love the addition
Appreciate that.
The Bat Daddy, Mr. Greg, and CK with that voice, and of course Cody Lack, who is the man with the plan. Listen. We can't go wrong picking at 6 or trading back because we have the 2 most valuable positions on the offense up on the cheap. And, of course, that is left tackle or quarterback. So as long as we get a serviceable player at either of those 2 positions, let alone a franchise guy, it's a win because we will never get those positions at this costly rate. All right. This is the cheapest we're going to get them, and we'll have them for 5 years. 5 years, not 4, at this rate. And you can build a team around those 2 positions. Whether we keep Sam another year and roll with a new left tackle, or we get one of these young stars, one of these studs like Malik Willis, or like Kenny Pickett. And I have emailed you guys, or not emailed, but I've been in the chat in the past, talking about this guy out of Alabama A&M named Akil Glass. Listen, he's a jewel, and we probably pick him up in the 5th round. and we got 2 fifth-round picks. Now, Cody, I know you like Malik. I like him too. But if he's gone and Kenny Pickett gets swapped up by New Orleans, why not take a swing at Akil Glass in the 5th and go ahead and secure our left tackle if the quarterback that we want is not there? Anyway, it's a win-win, gentlemen. Great show tonight. Have a good evening. And I enjoyed you guys on the PNP podcast with Rashad and Dave, man. That was great. And seeing the boys from Four Man Rush and T Money, of course.
T Money. He's been around from the beginning, homie.
Yeah, yes.
Keep pounding.
Great call. And that is ultimately what we kind of come back to is, and I'm not familiar with the Kill Glass, right? And I'm not even familiar with the names that I mentioned earlier, Bailey Zapp and Cole Kelly. I just look at their stats and it's like, holy shit, this is just crazy. 62 touchdowns, this and that. That is something to be said, though, is they did something that other people haven't done. But here's the thing is that, like, when you start taking like these flyers in the late rounds, that's fine. But you have to only imagine them being flyers. And that is, I think, what I had the most problem with Will Grier is like shit or get off the pot. Either pick the dude that you think is going to replace or pick the guy in that back end, 5, 6. That's fine. You want to pick somebody there. You're going to put him on the squad. You're going to see what he can do. We're going to work with him. That's different. You don't have any assets in him. It is a low risk, high reward scenario. The worst thing, I mean, you pick a guy in the first round, it's a high risk, high reward scenario. But the worst thing to do is pick Will Grier. And I got to go back, and if I have one criticism about the Pittsburgh Steelers organization is they have consistently picked quarterbacks in the 3rd and 4th round over and over. Mason Rudolph, the guy with alopecia who is now actually, he was Josh Dobbs. I liked him a lot too, coming out of Tennessee. But like ultimately, you kind of think they could work, but you don't believe in them, and they're never gonna work. So I just like it's shit or get off the pot for me. So I'm okay with the back end pick. Like, hey, let's put somebody on here. Maybe they work out and they're great. Doesn't cost us anything. I'd much rather pick whoever he just mentioned over that long snapper we picked. Right. But what did Will Grier get us?
He threw a ball in a trash can. We were impressed.
Yeah. Nothing. He did. And so I just want us to have conviction. Have some nuts, man. Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot or don't shoot at all.
He gave us a lot to debate about.
True.
But you know what? Guess where he is now?
I don't know.
He was on the Cowboys. He's in Dallas, not doing shit though. But you know what I'm saying? Like he ain't doing anything. Like, so I just don't like to cherry pick these examples of Russell Wilson and Tom Brady and be like, oh, you can get the dude in the 3rd. And I'm not trying to diss on the caller. The caller has good points. Man, I'm not trying to diss on the caller. What I'm just trying to say is I like his perspective. You either back in it or you front in it. This middle of the road shit is bullshit to me. Right. Next call.
Jay, sure again. I can't get off the topic of how we need to move as a fan base. Like, we're just all over the place. Like, at this point,
we struggling, bro.
I want to understand our identity, honestly. I mean, are we trying to be hybrid in every on both ends of the ball? Because we never doubled down on tackle in Panthers history.
We picked 7 defensive players in one draft.
Like, I mean, the fan base, some of us want Willis, some of us want Pickett. If we can't handle one, why not just go tackle? Like, why not just go tackle back-to-back years? I mean, I would love to have a 2nd round and 3rd round pick, but we gave that up already. So when will it be all right to double down on tackles?
Well, that's a
Yeah.
fair point.
The legitimate quarterback
We should have done it for the last 8 years,
is
bro.
not there for us. I feel like Pickett could be special for us. Some fans feel like Willis can. I just don't see it. Highlights not enough. Watch a few games of his. The one read is that's what they go by offense wise. So you can't fault him, but at the same time, I want different. I just want different at quarterback.
All right, let's highlight this. All right, so first, actually, I want to talk about the call because great call. Thank you very much. You're right. Is like what stops us from doing that, and you're absolutely right. There is nothing that stops us from just building that wall. Actually, there is. It's our fucking coaching staff. And last year, when have we done it? That's what I'm saying. Is like now you want to do it? Like finally? Okay. Right. All right, you know what? I will not be mad if we draft a tackle. I will not be mad, guys. Like if we draft, I don't even fuck if we draft a center, bro. If he has, the only thing I will be mad at is if we draft a player who doesn't play on the offensive line or plays quarterback. I will be disappointed. And I don't know what the answer is. I truly don't. But I know the answer right now is not safety. Is not I don't believe if we draft Thibodeau, I will.
We riot.
I will riot, bro. I will riot, bro. And I almost rioted last year, and the only person that saved me was Cody Lashney, who told me that J.C. Horn was a dog of dogs. Like he said, hey, hold up, just calm down a little bit. He is really fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
But I lost my shit, bro. And it wasn't because I needed Justin Fields. I needed this. I'm in the same exact place I was last year.
Yeah.
And that is the answer is quarterback or offensive line. None of those, nothing else is going to help my team as much. I need the safest pick is offensive lineman. Yes, fine. I will be happy. I will be just skeeting all over the joint if we get an offensive lineman. That's it.
Yeah. And before we go any further,
one
I
more
can't believe let's go ahead and finish it, and then after we finish it, this will be the final little thing that will finish the show.
We did. Yeah. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, Joey again.
Joey.
And I just heard y'all talking about what happens if the quarterback
I lied.
draft this year
One more
Josh
call.
Rosen and we get a new coach and then we pull in Arizona. Well, yeah, look at Kyler Murray. Overrated.
Joey, I ain't playing your third call.
But that's beside the point. I don't want that shit. We've been doing the same dumb ass bullshit for the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
We cut Cam Newton and brought in Teddy. That didn't work. We only gave it 1 year. In hindsight, that was kind of stupid. We got Sam. We don't need to talk about him. We know he sucks. Then in the middle of the season, we brought back Cam. Why? Because seats were empty. Because we sucked. Because we screwed up at quarterback again. So why are we now moving that whole parade, that whole carousel of quarterbacks to the draft? We better not do that shit. See, that's why I don't want a quarterback this year, because I don't like the idea of that. You might think I'm dumb for that, or
we don't think you're dumb, Joey. We just think you're blind.
But
I have a
I
response
just
to
don't
this
like
real quick.
Like, why draft a quarterback? Like, why? When you could have had a good tackle or something, you know? Anyway, guys.
Joey, love you, bro. We love you. I'm not playing your third call because you called in twice and it's midnight. But go ahead and respond to that call. Let's see.
Well, I think if you look historically at the conversation about Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold, nobody wanted them to get those quarterbacks.
True.
Like
True.
nobody in the fan base wanted Teddy Bridgewater to be the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Like they justified it after we were going to be getting them already. Nobody wanted Sam Darnold. Like nobody was like on the like, let's call up and ask about Sam Darnold with the Jets. Nobody wanted that, right? The difference here is that this offers a bit of hope, right? This is a guy that you're not going to give up on after 1 year, no matter how bad they are. Like they're going to come out here, and if they even start, you're going to give them more than 1 year. Like Sam Darnold got 1 year as a courtesy, right? Teddy Bridgewater should have the amount of belief this organization had in him was so little. They paid him for 3 years and traded him, and still paid him for 2 more years, and he wasn't even on the team. That's how much they didn't think that he had what it takes to be a starter in this league. And now you're seeing that same sentiment with the Broncos, where they've actually put so many resources into getting Russell Wilson. The difference is we're going to get a quarterback that has hope and optimism, that hasn't been tainted by
excitement.
It's excitement, but it's a blank canvas, right? And it's not 1 year of prove it. You've had an opportunity in the NFL, but I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like it's not one of these things where it's a prove it deal. Like it's a hey, you're in the NFL now. Here is your expectations. Go out there and show us what you got. And if it doesn't work, you're a bust. But if it does work, it's going to be a great time for everybody.
Yeah. And Greg, I know you gotta get out of here, but before we all leave, this is the final thing I had for everyone tonight. And now we're even past time, but on this day a year ago, and it's 12:01, so it's already tomorrow. But on this day a year ago, the Panthers traded a second, a fourth, and a sixth round pick for Sam Darnold. It's our anniversary, y'all. Celebrate.
And here, I want to say this is like at the time we were glass half full about it.
Yeah, we tried.
And you should be. Like if we draft a quarterback, we'd be glass half full about them. In retrospect, about this trade, the only problem that I have with it is it was a little too rich.
Right.
It just should have been a fourth round pick. That's all it should have been. Is we knew they were moving on. That's the thing. The only problem I have with kicking the tires on Sam Darnold last year and it being a failed project is that not only did we give a second, a fourth, and a sixth, and I don't care about the sixth. I just care about that second. But then we also traded Dan Arnold and lost our third for CJ Henderson. That's the only problem I have with this. Is like we just put too much stock into a player. And it's like, why would you trade? I always feel like we give more than we should. We pay high. And then like when we need to do that, people selling low to us.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Greg, we are not gonna. We're done with the calls. We're gonna close the show out. I know you got to go. So if you want to expedite an ice up pick or just say goodbye.
No, I'll get
say
nice.
I love the postal system, which I do. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll do a real quick one. This may be a first for the Panther show. I'm not gonna ice a person up. I'm icing up water. Tony, you asked me why I didn't see Morbius this weekend. I was planning on going to see it this weekend, but I had a problem
Okay.
at the house. And let me share some pictures here.
What happened?
Water can do some serious damage to your house, y'all. Even just the smallest drip. So, like the smallest drip over like a 3-year period.
Fuck your shit up.
Yeah.
Where was it at? What kind of drip was it?
In my laundry
bathroom.
In my laundry room, coming from the faucet, the intake or the
had
supply
that.
line. Yeah. So share this picture here. This is what I uncovered after I pulled.
I gotta show it.
On the floor.
I got you.
Yeah. That is a small drip over 3 years.
And when you pull everything up,
yeah. So
you got Quest piping probably like me.
Yeah. So this is the water damage right here. You see all the black mold and the rotted wood down here that I had to deal with, which sucks. And then after I pulled the floor up, had to fill up all the floors and all
gone. You gotta pull all that up. Subfloor. That's $3,000 worth of damage right now.
That's $3,000 worth of damage if you can't do it
Did
yourself.
I get it right?
Well, it's probably close to it. I paid $500, and I'm gonna, after this stuff finishes drying out tomorrow, I get to put it all back down. $500 myself. So doing your work yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna have to put a
lot of money.
humidifier underneath or a dehumidifier under the house, probably. I mean, there's a lot of shit, dude. I know about. I got Quest pipe, and folks. Water will fuck your shit up. It will.
Real bad. So I'm spending the rest of the week getting that down. But you know what? The good thing is we want to replace the floors anyway. This just gives me the reason to start.
Silver lining. Just like, you know what? It's like we wanted to find a different football team to cheer for. If the Panthers leave us, we'll find a goddamn silver line. All right. Greg, you didn't see Morbius. How about this? It's just before you go, here's this. Is that my wife and I, everybody has marital ups, downs in this, and we decided we needed a little time to get, like, we just need an afternoon. Our kids were getting picked up by grandma. We needed a little time just to have together. And we said, well, let's just go see a movie. You know, just you and I. We're not going to have anybody else talking to it, you know, not going to. So she pulled it up. She pulled up the show times and this and that. We had to pick like what was available at close to that time. We saw Morbius at 4 o'clock or 4:20 on Thursday. And I didn't even realize it was like the early premiere.
Yeah.
Like we walked up in there, we had good seats. So she was like, yeah, I got these 2 last seats in the middle. And we sat in there and I read all the reviews. I got to tell you this. I understand how the comic book nerds would dislike something that doesn't adhere entirely to a story.
Right.
I understand that. Like, but for someone who did not know anything about this story at all, at all, my wife just said, I said, I heard that was with Marvel. That's what I told her. She said, she said, yeah, I just Googled it. It said Marvel's answer to Batman. That's the only thing she told me. Like, I mean, like they came up with a comic at one point in time. And you know what? I found it entertaining. And I mean, I understand, like, I would only say this is that like the people that hate on it just wish that he was a bad guy the whole time.
Maybe.
That's what I would say. And the ending was just all right. But anyway. All right, Greg, we love you. Super Civil Servants Podcast. Go fix your floor, homie. And make sure when you see a little water drip, clean that shit up, homie.
Yes, take care of it.
Actually, I have the same thing. My air conditioner was leaking in my house and my floor's bubbling. I got to do the same shit.
Oh,
all right, brother. All right. We're getting spammed by people. All right.
Yep.
I
I've got a fast one if y'all want me to just jump in and out here.
Please.
So I am going to ice up the passenger on a Southwest.
Oh, I love this one. I saw this. I saw this was funny. Why are you icing him up?
Man accused of masturbating 4 times on a Southwest flight. Antonio Sherrard McGarity allegedly admitted to public masturbation and told FBI officials he thought the whole incident was kind of kinky.
He said he thought she was all right with it. It was awesome.
The amount of balls that you have to, and by the way, this mofo didn't even go to the bathroom 4 times in a row. He literally sits down next to a woman on a plane and whips out his dick and just starts jerking it. And like he's asking the woman next to him, hey, are you okay with this?
I like how he took a nap at one point and then did it again.
she said that she had to take pictures of him for proof. And as soon as she got off the plane, she went and fucking reported his ass.
She liked it.
Dude.
She liked it. Take a
hey,
picture.
Man, listen. Hey, y'all, don't jerk off on planes. Just don't do it, man. So to Antonio Sherrod McGarity, ice up, son.
All right, CK, you got one for us?
Yeah, mine's gonna be just around marriage. Listen,
this sucks.
I think
don't get married, folks.
I think that there's well, basically, I'll kind of give you a brief rundown. So I have some guys that are, I guess, a buddy and his wife are moving, and they're doing a trip from Miami up to DC, and he was, talking and asking a few people if they, minded a trip so he can come out and hang out. And somebody that, I got to see back in November for the first time in a long time, but in Vegas, I got to go see him. But I offered like, hey man, if you guys ever need a place to stay on your way up, and he was like, oh man, that'd be awesome. Well, and then I tell my wife afterwards, and I am the worst human being on the face of the fucking
She don't
planet.
like that. She's like, I don't want these mugs staying here, bro.
Right. She said, I don't like. First and foremost, you didn't ask me. I'm like, okay, well, first and foremost, what would you have said? And she said, no, and that's inconsiderate. You didn't even think about me. And I told her, I'm like, but you just said you would have said no to me.
Asked for them to move in, did you, bro?
No, one night. And it was like, the funny thing is, it would have been Friday night. They would have gotten there at dinner time and left Saturday morning. So I told her, I was like, so wait, so your thought process is, I'm inconsiderate because I didn't ask you first. But if I would have asked you, you would have said no, disregarding what I wanted. So like at this point in time, who's really winning this? It's so irritating.
Guess what? She is, bro.
Yeah. And so I was like, I love her to death, and like her birthday's this Sunday, so I don't want to ice her up. But like marriage in general, like it's a weird conversation that ends up like as I'm getting to a point where like I'm starting to like, you watch some of these videos of guys talking about, how, they don't feel appreciated and all this stuff. And like, I'm just like, I always shrugged it off, but I think it's starting to become a reality that I'm experiencing.
How old are you?
What is it?
How old are you?
31. She turns 30 on Sunday.
Yeah, you're gonna go through this. Don't worry. When you're about 37, this shit's gonna pop off again, bro. Things are about to get good, but you get 37, 38, 39, 40. Man, the last 3 years of my life, I've been with my wife for 21 years. We've been dating for 16 years married. And bro, the midlife, this shit is a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a struggle, man.
Oh yeah.
Even the best of relationships, the best of friends are a struggle, bro.
Yeah.
So you know what? Keep whispering in the microphone because she will fuck you up.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. She was not happy. Like it was unreasonable.
Well, ice that bitch.
The level of
I didn't mean to call her bitch.
Ice up, baby. Ice
All
up.
All right, here I got 2 ice ups. I gotta jump on this one first. This one made me fucking trip today.
I saw this.
This shit made me laugh. It's like it said, what would you do if you caught your fiance on your wedding day getting dome? It said, I was like, look at this shit. And it's so fast. I wish I could slow it down.
Hey, pause the music though.
The sound. Yeah, thank you. You're right. Good. All right, I gotta start again. Here it is. I mean, it's so fast. Like I wish I could slow it down. All right, so she's banging on the window. Look, my man got no pants on. This dude getting head.
Yo, what the fuck was man's doing in the stretch extender limo getting domed up?
That's exactly what he was doing. You already said it. Like, and then see, I feel like this is an Instagram prank.
Like it's
you know what I'm saying? Like, is it staged? And so, but somebody said that she slapped him in it, this and that. But it is funny. I ain't gonna lie.
On the wedding day too.
Look at her. This girl got do you see this girl? Look at this girl with this pleather dress on right here, consoling her. Hold on. We don't need none of this music. Look at this dress this girl wearing right here on the left, right here. So she wearing a pleather dress. She wiping her tears away. She lucky she didn't find her husband getting. I mean, I got so many, but this mess was wild.
Is she lucky she didn't catch him?
And this is. I wanted to know about this part right here, is because there is something. This right here is something like, what is this? Is this that looked like her for a second? I think this is all staged, personally.
There's too many of these videos that end up being that way.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. Like,
but I'm gonna ice up this. I'm gonna ice up that wife for you know what? I'm giving him a props. I'm gonna give that dude props right now. I mean, it's not, but like this one though. This is where it's weird. This is like the weird, like the tough. This is my real ISO pick though. Oh, let me see. Give me this. Jonathan Stewart shared this, by the way. Who I just put. By the way, this football right here. If you see my football, it's signed by Jonathan Stewart. I actually found it in a closet. I forgot all about it. It says they just beat the ref, and look at this joint, bro. Is that? So there's some adults there.
They're chasing the ref? Oh!
The ref did come back at him, man. I feel good for him.
Oh, serving it up. Oh, he smacked the shit out that little kid.
Look, these other refs.
What? Bro, what is going on here?
I know. So here is my thing about this shit that I don't like is I know first I've been in a fight recently. Like, look, people getting fight. Look, some shit happens sometimes, right? People do some.
You gotta tell me that story sometime.
I
want to hear that.
But my point is this: is that like I don't like this watch culture.
Right.
This, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like ultimately is there's 3 other refs there. I commend that ref for serving them kids back up. Man, he fucking threw a lick on somebody else back. But what I'm just saying is this is like nobody thinks that this is a problem. Everybody just wants to watch.
I think
it's like porn.
Yeah.
To them.
Well,
and I got a problem
also,
with that.
Like, why didn't the other referee isn't gonna go and help out the other referee? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like they were even watching. Like everybody is like cucking the whole situation, and I don't like that, man. Like it's just like, oh, I saw this the other. It's like everybody just films everything instead of living.
Do we know the story behind this? Like, why did they start trying to kick his ass?
How did the whole gym try to kill the ref?
That's what I'm saying. Like, why?
Look at this one more time, bro.
Students. Like,
Look at this. Look at the beginning. It's the coaches at first, bro, or somebody. They're adults. I'm gonna turn the volume down here.
Yeah.
Look, the 2 in red are adults, bro, and look. They're coming up on them. Look. Encouraging, and then these kids come after. Look, that kid hit him. Another one came after him. A third one, he got that. Oh, and he got the redhead.
He got the adult.
Yeah.
Damn.
And look at this, and look, they're beating him up on the ground. Look.
And these 2 the only one willing to go over there and actually try to break it up though. Like
and
she was
the 2 other refs are just like, what's, huh?
Man,
huh? What's a double dribble? I never heard of it before.
When I was in high school, I knew this guy who worked in my high school. His name was Derek Brewer, and him and his son were big into that AAU basketball thing.
Right.
Man, let me tell you, that shit is serious, man. They don't play with that AAU basketball, man. Like these basketball parents, they go crazy over this type of shit because like this is where their recruitment starts, you know. Like
that ref won all that shit. The ref brought all the smoke on that. I'm icing up the field. That's where my ice up. Thank you, Josh. Josh helped me, bro. Is that I was originally icing up this watch culture who doesn't give a fuck about anything, that just is on porn of excitement of whatever. But now my ice up is to this field of kids and these 2 adults that got their ass beat by one dude trying not to fight them. You got your ass. You got smoked, bro. All right. That's the C3 Panther. Ice up. Ice up, bitches. Take a punch. My name's Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. And a night where we're really, this is the third or fourth time in the last 2 months where we have been moving through the show in the first hour. And I was like, oh, we getting through it. We killing it. We smoking. I even sent Cody a message. I thought this show's going so great. And now it's 12:19 and we're still here. Still here. Maybe that's why it's so great. Thank you for hanging out with me. My name's Tony Dunn. Longest running Panthers podcast, the C3 Panthers podcast. Subscribe, like, leave a review. Cody, tell them how to get after you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cody Lack. You see the hashtag right there in front of me. And listen, y'all, if you're still with us, 93 people still rocking with us until the very end of the show.
3.5 hours, bro.
Yeah, man. Listen, every Friday night at 7 p.m., that is your opportunity to be a part of the C3 podcast, man. Come and be on the Friday Free For All. Every Friday at 7 p.m. I drop the link to the StreamYard. So literally anyone and everyone who wants to come and join the discussion is able and willing to do so. It's always a fun time. That's every Friday at 7 p.m. Check out all my content at drafttech.com, where I write first and second round comments for the Panthers if they had the second round comment. And that's it for your boy, man. Another Tuesday night in the books.
CK, the man with the voice that makes him moist. You better be glad I didn't come to the. Ooh, there's a lot of analogies there. I didn't come to the Liberty Pro Day and spend the night with you, homie. I would have made myself at home. But like, I'm here. I'm here. Anyway, CK, the man with the voice that makes them moist. How can they get after you?
Just find me on the socials. Just go check it out. Just enjoy, me and what I do on the internets.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. The man with the golden pipes. My name's Tony Dunn at cat_chronicles. Smash the thumbs up button. It's free. Subscribe. Leave a message. Call in at 252-228-5098. Take us out of here, Cody.
Until next time, C3 Panther family. Keep pounding.